Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to WOR and welcome to the WOR Ironman League as well. Alongside Timbo, we're bringing you some of the best racing over 100% distance. And as the championship dawns towards its very end stage, it is in the hands of Jana Wotmere and Danny Berejnay to take the title. But it all could be up for question because we've still got points on the table. We've still got 2 races to go. Opportunities in abundance for various competitors here across the circuit. And we're going to bring it all live to you tonight. My name is, of course, George Morgan, your commentator. Alongside me, as always, Lewis McGlade. Lewis, how are you, sir? Fresh off the back of last week. And we could be in for one hellacious headline tonight. It could yet be further victory for Mercedes in this championship.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously you were sick last week. Now I'm the one that's sick because I'm sick of being in the booth with you, George. But no, obviously we're in for a fun night. We were thinking it was going to be France. It's not France. It is going to be Vegas. So it's Spider Pig. So it'll be fun. Do you know what? I'm actually looking forward to this. I actually thought the Grand Prix of this was actually quite good. So who knows what this is going to be like?
Who knows, folks? Like, we honestly thought it was going to be Paul Ricard. Someone tells me that someone threw a curveball or something towards the end of that lobby being uploaded. But yes, slip of the finger there from Timbo. But yeah, we'll take you through the standings, guys, because I know a lot of you are looking to look at that. But first of all, let's go through the lineup that you're going to tonight as well. We've got Danny Berejnay and Jana Wotmere lining up in the pro outfit for Mercedes. We've got Istvan Pukki and Otis Lawrence debuts here tonight as well. One of the most exciting league races to come out of the F1 game in many years. Ben Jabo-Kogne and Shanaka Clay also making his debut here as Clay in the Haas with Zoltan Boda, David Vincher, as well as Ben Snarji and Chan Akinci, who has been pretty solid right through the course of this championship. Amateur teams line up with Daniel Zenograczki and Ben Chilez, as well as Zolt Timbush and Gabor Tivitek in the McLarens. We then have Daniel Benzer and Tamas Alroots, as well as Norbert Jabo-Kogne and Gabor Vajda in the Aston Martin. Gabor Takash and Jabolch Venzel as well lines up in the Williams. So that is our lineup here tonight. We then will take a little look at the standings prior to us going to qualifying very shortly. At the very top of the classification, at the very top of the standings, it is Mercedes. Danny Berejnay and Jana Wotmere in front. They are clear of Haas, which is going to be, well, of course, is driven usually by Ben Jabo-Kogne and Ulash Oz-Yildirim. Ferrari lining up as well with Istvan Pukki, Dylan Warren, AlphaTauri, Zoltan Boda as well. But of course, we do have lots on the line here tonight at Vegas, as we now head across, because we do, of course, have the one-shot quali system in place. So with a comfortable lead out in front of the championship here at this point, Mercedes, I think, have it all in the bag. They just need a good run tonight, but Vegas, full of surprises.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really, really tricky circuit. I've done a couple of laps around here and hated every second of it. We'll have to wait and see whether the drivers do so as well. They're fairly well versed with this circuit at the moment, as is the expected moment. The likes of Otis Lawrence, Jana Wotmere, they're dropping to the back of the field as expected. We always, see those drop down. Danny Berejnay, I've noticed, has been qualifying for quite a bit of the session and then drops back in the last stage as they head past the sphere. It's a tricky track.
Yeah, very tricky track indeed. Pukki currently out in front. Ben Jabo-Kogne leading the way. Janos Akanci as well further up. Danny Berejnay, of course, disqualified as you'd expect. Many of the top guys now ushering themselves to the back. Otis Lawrence joining them as well. So we did question whether Otis would indeed qualify. I guess that answers our question. Ben Jabo-Kogne, though, carrying on and looking to instill a decent result here for Haas. Shanaka Clay stepping in for Ulas Yildirim this time around as well alongside him. So a very forceful outfit here for Haas. Ben Jabo-Kogne has been impressive, though, has he not, Lewis? Because, of course, we've seen him up at the top end time and time again, consistently on the podium.
Yeah, indeed. Ben Jabo-Kogne then out through towards the line. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, he's been so impressive on his consistency. Shanaka Clay's also going to join him on the front row of the grid, it seems, as qualifying comes to a close. Incredible scenes there for the Haas team. First and second in that qualifying session. Incredible scenes. And Ben Jabo-Kogne, he wants that win.
He certainly does. We'll have a great chance to do it. Here is our grid. Ben Jabo-Kogne lines up on top with Shanaka Clay alongside him as well. 3/10 separating, though, near enough. Janos Akanci there in third with Jabolch Svenzel in fourth with B. Danny in fifth. Gab in sixth, and then Timbo in seventh. Ben Chilez in eighth. Zoltan Boda ninth. 10th place for Naji Bentz as well. as Norby Jabo-Konyi. We then have Gabor Takash, David Vincher, Sony, LM Gabor Vajda, and then, of course, Zena Grachki further down, Tamas Alroots, Otis Lawrence, Danny Berejne, Jana Wotmir, and Istvan Pukki. The bottom four, all, of course, as you'd expect, not qualifying, as they do by standard pretty much. But yes, very interesting to look at. Of course, we've got plenty to look forward to going forward. As you all know, 100% race outfit strategy is going to be of the essence. Something that Jana Wotmir is very good at, so regardless of whether he's at the back, it never usually matters to the Flying Dutchman.
No, exactly. He always seems to pick his way through nicely. You know what Jana Wotmir is like. And to be perfectly honest, I can see him piecing his way through. It's kind of one of those...
Yeah, it does.
You see, he's won 3 races so far.
Yeah, it does seem that way. He has won 3. Indeed, you're absolutely spot on. Brazil as well as Bahrain. Of course, taking victory at Hungary as well. Ulas Yildirim taking a great victory at Mexico. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see him here tonight. Dylan Warren, of course, taking victory back at Monza. But we've got 2 rounds to go. Wotmir leading the title race as things stand, 90 points right at the very top end. And let's see if he can make it 4 wins this campaign so far. So intriguing to see, and no doubt we're going to be in for a real treat as we wait for the drivers to take to the grid. But yeah, going back to Ben Jabo-Konyi, it's almost criminal that he's yet to take a race win here at this point, Lewis, because he has been consistent right at the top. You know, he's been outright brilliant where it's come to nestling himself inside the top 3. I hark back to his performance at Brazil. I thought it was stellar. Unfortunately, again, just getting outdone by the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Ben Jabo-Konyi to take a victory this season, but then there's only 2 races left to go, so there's not much time. Starting from pole position on a street circuit kind of is now or never, although the expectations there's probably a safety car.
Yeah, could well do. All 5 lights are lit, though, here at Las Vegas. As now with the roll of the dice, they put the pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go! Certainly up at the top, it's still Ben Jabo-Konyi, Shanaka Clay starting to ghost as well. I think we might have a little bit of desync here, because Ben Chile is showing at the top of the timing screen. Lots of ghosting here as well. So it looks like, well, we'll have to wait and see how it goes, but definitely desync of the order as we're now seeing lap 2 of 50 right at the top of the screen. So brace with us, or stay with us, folks. We will find out as to what the decision is going to be at this stage, though. Ben Jabo-Konyi carrying on as now we see them make their way through towards the next left-hander through the chicane. Great start, though, by the Haas team. Though, as I say that, Shanaka Clay's around.
Never mind. Yeah, Shanaka Clay goes for a bit of a spin. That might, if there's any incident there, that might actually cause a safety car, which might actually be quite good for the grid if he was able to catch. You can actually see in 3rd position there, just desyncing behind Shabos Vencel. But if there was a safety car, that would be great, because we're expecting some rain in a very short period, as it's all getting very dicey here towards the backstretch.
It certainly is. Shanaka Clay did well to recover like he did, but unfortunately losing the places. And as a consequence as well, missing out on that P2 place now. But we are seeing some wheel-to-wheel action straight from the get-go. Janos Akansi as well as B. Danny right in the thick of it. Shanaka Clay starting to move up now as he takes 4th place. But with the overspeed heading down this back straight, very exciting, fast-paced, and certainly illuminating racing here to be had at Las Vegas. They burst through and send it through the chicane. Ben Jabo-Konyi currently clear at the top, though, 2.2 seconds. Obviously, with that issue that Shanaka Clay had earlier on, it's giving him that little bit of breathing space.
Did see Bench Nodge going a little bit wide, going out through the final kind of chicane at 14, 15 and 16. Actually dropped him a position. All 3, Otis Lawrence through, Jana Wotmir through, Danny Berejne through, now Shena Goratsky through as we ride on board with Wotmir, straight around the outside of Otis Lawrence, making his debut in the Ironman League.
Yeah, Danny Berejne is going to follow him through as well. Wheel to wheel now between Lawrence and Berejne, who has been impressive in league racing as well. PSGL, where he's taken a victory, the first race of the season at Portimao in that campaign. And there's an Alfa Romeo that's made a mistake there. That's Janos Akansi. Now remember, he was right at the top of the order. Shanaka Clay has taken 3rd as a consequence. So whether there was a coming together there, I'm not quite sure. But he has now found himself down in 15th.
Disaster for the Alphas. Like, they've had to be fair, they were looking all right earlier on. And by earlier on, I mean literally the previous lap. And alas, that has not been the case for them as we head our way through this winding S section up towards T12. Heavy onto the brakes, keeping your eye on Jana Wotmir. I'm pretty sure he might be making up another position by the time they get down towards 14 and 15.
Yeah, heading down now this back straight. Jarno Opmeer on the move again. He's on the tail of Szabolcs Wenzel as well. He's going to look to go around the outside of the Williams. As easy as you like, indeed. And he's not the only one either. Istvan Pukki on the rise as well. Wheel to wheel now as they make their way down this next straight. Jarno Opmeer not far behind either, as we now see Ben Chiles on his tail. But Pukki managing to dispatch the Red Bull in pretty quick fashion. He has Zoltan Bode now in front of him as they now power their way down this back straight. And very shortly they'll begin turn one yet again. Fastest lap of the race so far as well, as it's just been taken away from Ben Szabó-Könnyű by Istvan Pukki. Inside line for Zoltan Bode on Norbert Szabó-Könnyű, and he's going to take full advantage here. Pukki outside from the inside as now the Scuderia Ferrari all dressed in red. The prancing horse prancing here all over the Aston Martin. Can he find the leverage to work his way through? Stellar stuff from Istvan Pukki. He's up to 7th.
Yeah, down into T5, brilliant stuff. Ben Chiles is the one behind, although to be fair, the one you're really looking forward to being moving forward is Jarno Opmeer. As Norbert Szabó-Könnyű drops back behind Ben Chiles as well, on board with Opmeer as we head past the dome. Obviously through 7, 8 and 9, out through this winding section. Of course, as they head past all the casinos and stuff. Yeah, let's be honest, it's a pretty iconic location for a circuit, if it is a bit of a bad one. I'm sure we've said that before time and time again, but still, not really a fan of the Vegas Grand Prix circuit, I'll say that.
Well, the one positive thing we can say, there's no potholes in the game, so we will take that on board. So we'll take the positives where we can get them, Lewis McGlade. One thing that might not be a positive, though, for numerous number of the drivers is now Jarno goes on the hunt again, this time dispatching Norbert Szabó-Könnyű in very easy fashion. We've got light rain in 5 minutes. That is the current scenes on the telemetry, that has been stagnant for quite some time. As to whether we do actually see that rain in 5 minutes, I'm not sure. It might yet deepen further. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as I'm looking at it, in terms of the messages we're currently seeing on screen, a couple of collisions that happened earlier on in the race. Some warnings have already been flitted around as well. I will say this, B. Danny on his last warning, as is Istvan Pukki. He is one warning away from a penalty, and there's also 2 warnings going towards Janos Akanci, who I'm wondering might be Chanakinci.
I was going to say, Chanakinci, it'll be the 3rd different race. He was Napoleon Bonaparte last time, and obviously with Optimus Prime back in Bahrain, so you never really know. It could be Chanakinci, as we see Istvan Pukki sitting behind Timbo and Zoltan Bode. There's one ticked off. Is it going to be the pair coming down into the chicane? No, it's not. Probably going to have to settle here. Well, no, maybe not. Let's go for 6th.
Yeah, I tell you what, a very swift move there from Istvan Pukki, managing to launch himself ahead of Timbo. And now Zoltan Bode is next on his list. And these two have been really polaxing their way through the field. All this inviting the Mercedes conglomerate, with Jarno Opmeer at the head of it, with Danny Berejnay down in 11th place now. There you can see the train, the 2 Mercs, starting to drift closer and closer to the front and into the top 10. Jarno already in it, P9. With Szabó-Könnyű just in behind him, as well as now we see Istvan Pukki open up the door, this time on Zoltan Bode. Wheel to wheel they now go. The 2 Ferrari constructors, Ferrari and AlphaTauri, drifting higher and higher up through the field as well. We've got some action further down, as well as we see Jarno Opmeer dispatching Ben Chiles, as well as Danny Berejnay overtaking Ben Chiles and Norbert Szabó-Könnyű in great style.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there, and like I say, working their way forward bit by bit, especially if this rain is coming towards a head through 17, the last real corner on the circuit, and back down towards turn 1. Opmeer behind Timbo, trying to work a way through, not quite picking it up as of yet. Like I say, there is that rain, that threatening rain on the horizon. And if you're in the likes of Jarno Opmeer, Istvan Pukki, you've made quite a lot of progress already. This is a great sign, because it's putting you in a good stead for that potential rain. Down the inside of Timbo is going to go, and I'm pretty sure this will be an easy one for Jarno Opmeer. Actually, maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I think Timbo just had enough to hold it together right through towards the corner's apex. And now Opmeer's left frustrated, but he's going to try the outside line. The car getting all squirrely underfoot, as now we see them make their way through the middle sector very shortly. Now powering out, heading down through sector 2 this time around. Jarno Opmeer, who threatened Timbo with the move. Timbo shutting the door pretty quickly, and the raindrops now starting to fall here at Vegas. So this will now activate certainly some strategy calls in the mind's eye eye of some of these drivers as they now peel on through. They've got a back straight still to come. Great chance here for Jarno Opmeer to make the move here on Timbo. Does indeed open up the door and does indeed move on by as they make their way down towards the back straight. Shanaka Clay as well. There's a little bit of activity further down, but Danny Berejnay as well making the big moves. 2 Mercedes moves in the space of 1 solitary straight. Jarno Opmeer's made it 3 as he now dispatches Zoltan Boda.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Berejnay has been absolutely fantastic so far this year. Shanaka Clay back to second position. Esteban Pukki, though, is the one behind, as into the pit lane to get themselves onto some intermediate tyres. Maybe it's a little bit early. Esteban Pukki certainly thinks so. Remains out on the race circuit. So does Danny Berejnay. We're right on board with Jarno Opmeer, who is into the pit lane. All these drivers coming into the pits, they'll be going onto the intermediate tyres. Yeah,
intermediate tyres have been called upon. Otis Lawrence in, as is Jana Kinchi, who is also in as well. Timbo in the pits. David Vincher now with a additional warning. More warnings have now been raised to 2 as well. David Vincher, in fact, as I said, 2 warnings now to his name, so 1 step away from a penalty. Istvan Pukki, who's now second on track, who has decided to stay out. He's also on 1 remaining warning before he obtains a penalty. So Danny Berejnay, you'd figure he has got to box this next lap. He is on the medium compounded tyre, has gone another lap to obviously avoid the double stack. Obviously, obvious choice of thinking, certainly where it comes to Mercedes. Otis Lawrence not wasting any time, just making a move on Thomas Arutz on the outset of the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, for Esteban Pukki, there could have been a pit stop, same with bench Charbot Cogny, although I know Charbot Cogny was not too far ahead of Shanaka Clay, so probably would have delayed his teammate a fair amount. The Mercs definitely couldn't pit. They were way too close to each other, so it makes sense, bring one in, let Danny Berejnay stay out on the circuit. Probably going to lose quite a bit of time here. And to be honest, in a lot of races, I'd be like, oh, it's a disaster. Knowing what these races are like, I wouldn't play the long game. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we've still got 45 laps, including this one. There is plenty of time as Jarno Opmeer is going to work his way past Danny Benzer and into 7th position. Next up for him is Gabor Cicic, who I think he might tick off as well.
Yeah, he certainly will. Managed to get in front of the McLaren in great style as well. And he's going to drag B. Danny, I think, into the fight as well. Wheel to wheel between these two. Could yet become 3 as well, because Zoltan Boda is not far behind either as they look to go wheel to wheel, heading through now towards the chicane and left it late, Zoltan Boda. And I have to tell you, that was a very suspicious move, to say the least. Into the pits, though, come the top 4. We got Ben Charbot Cogny, Istvan Pukki, Danny Berejnay, Naji Benzer, as well as Ben Gilles, and into the pits as well, I think, as we see the cars crawl down the order, of course, losing all that time on the slick tyres. One thing that can be said, Ben Charbot Cogny has added enough of a buffer to retain P1, and Pukki still out in P2 as well. In fact, Berejnay is out in 3rd.
Literally, I was about to say, I think that's the important one, is that Danny Berejnay, that shows that, to be fair, they made the right call on staying out for that 1 extra lap, and they made it work. Danny Berejnay clearing an extra second over Jarno Opmeer, jumping that spot. I mean, I kind of think part of that might be because Opmeer was battling with them, fair enough. But Danny Berejnay's worked his way up the order without even fighting him, because he just went out 1 lap longer in some tricky conditions. So fantastic drive. Got to be said, Ben Charbot Cogny is driving unbelievably well at the moment. Obviously started from pole position, didn't have to work his way up the order like the others. But still, to have a 4-second lead now as the rain is coming down here in Vegas. And to be honest, I don't think Istvan Pukki's much quicker, if quicker at all.
No, I think, to be honest with you, I'd say that they're all pretty level on pace generally. I mean, Jarno Opmeer is generally known as king of the wet. He is one of the best wet weather drivers we have seen in league racing, certainly on the F1 game, that's for sure. Danny Berejnay, though, pulling off a stellar in-lap in order to come straight back out again ahead of his teammate Jarno Opmeer. Further down, we have got some action further down. Zoltan Boda again on the attack as he looks to go wheel to wheel, this time with Shanaka Clay. Clay, though, doing enough to hold the position in 7th. Boda now down in 8th. Norbert Charbot Cogny then 2 seconds in behind these two, with Timbo down in 11th, trying to chase after Otis Lawrence, who no doubt is looking to try and embed these intermediate tyres. Here comes Boda again this time as he looks to go wheel to wheel with Shanaka Clay through the final corner. Very dangerous, very helter-skelter in the wet, as now Gab and B. Danny also come together as well. So it's a 4-car dance as they now make their way out of turn 1. It is going to be B. Danny who holds position, at least for now, and Zoltan Boda has managed to usurp Shanaka Clay for that 7th place. Very good move.
Yeah, again, it's incredible scenes in this battling. We'll have to wait and see where they're all going to filter out in all of it, because to be honest, I think they're losing quite a lot of time courtesy of their battling, although they're battling well enough where they're not going side by side through sections like this too often, which is where you really do lose time. Straight into the rear end though, Zoltan Boda taps the rear end of Gabor Ticic. He's now trying to get his way past Danny Benzer. Do you remember, I say it before quite a few times, the very first round of the season at Monza, Danny Benzer, that Alpine in 5th place, beat Danny. That was a driver that was on pole position for the very first race of this season of this Ironman League.
Yeah, Shanaka Clay, though, determined to get his place back that he lost at the hands of Zoltan Boda. Now, has Boda got any damage on that front wing? Because, of course, we did see, a bit of a twist in the tail of that Aston Martin further back. Norbert Jabo-Konya, unfortunately, coming unstuck slightly. And a great opportunity there for Timbo. Immediately snuffs it out. Otis Lawrence looking to do the same as he now looks to breeze himself between the two cars. Otis is GOATIS here in Las Vegas. He's taken them both on and has taken 9th place as well. A hugely opportunistic move. He has done the double and he's now well and truly in the top 10.
Yeah, obviously Otis Lawrence passing a car that he's very familiar with driving. Is now Norbert Jabo-Konya. He's going to go side by side with Timbo, going out through the that chicane section up towards the final turn. Backs out of it a little bit and settles for 11th position right now. Norbert Jabo-Konya had some great flashes of pace back in the Hungaroring in the previous round just a week ago. Now closing right in. Oh my goodness! Was there contact there, or did he just about miss?
Oh, I think he just about missed it. Very late on the brakes, though, and had to really put his foot down in order to try and make sure that it did not end up in misery for both cars. But speaking of potential misery, there's misery in the hands here of Gab as now Shanaka Clay heads down the inside. A very smooth move, barely touching the wall as well on the left-hand side. Good move there from Clay as he now looks to chase down B. Danny. And has managed to put a car in between he and Zoltan Boda, who overtook him earlier on. Chavos Wenzel managed to get ahead of Tamas Alroots as well for that 13th spot. Ben Jabo-Konya, this might be his lucky day here, Lewis. 3.5 seconds clear up at the front.
Yeah, driving really, really well. That gap has remained about that 3.5 to 4 second gap back to Esteban Pukki. And the really important one isn't even between him and Esteban Pukki. It's back to Danny Berezhny, because that gap has actually gone up to 2 seconds. So things are looking really solid for the Haas driver at the front of the field. Esteban Pukki in second, Danny Berezhny and Jarno Opmeer. Berezhny's even started to pull a bit of a gap on Opmeer. I think that's probably more a bit tactical, to be honest. I'm surprised they've not actually tried switching the drivers as of yet, but we know what these two are like when it comes to working together. They did it. You would have missed it. They did an incredible job of working together at the last round. And no, that's not even me trying to win favour with the Jarno Opmeer fans. I still think Interlagos was terrible.
Well, they have a long history to Danny Berezhny and Jarno Opmeer. And Danny Berezhny's record as a team competitor or team player, should we say, certainly goes on record to the highest order. In F1 Esports alone, he was teammate to two-time champions, Brendan Lee, of course, and Jarno Opmeer himself, when Jarno would take his first title, as we see Zoltan Boda coming together with Gab and B. Danny. B. Danny trying to sleuth up the inside to try and reclaim at least one of the places that he did lose. Otis Lawrence now also coming into this fight as well as they make their way down the back straight now. The McLaren trying to avoid the Alpine at all costs, and Zoltan Boda getting it up in the rear. Oh no! Here on lap 10, a spin for Zoltan Boda, and I have to tell you, that was coming. It's not the first time I've seen him make contact with somebody, but now it's opened up the door for Otis here, Lewis.
Oh, I think Otis might have actually tapped the barrier there, trying to get around the outside of Gabor Tecic, so maybe just a costly one as well. It's so tricky to race in these kind of conditions when it's so slippery. This might be a required move for Otis Lawrence to get past Gab as soon as possible, as a 5-second penalty is dished out to Zoltan Boda, so the pain gets even worse. Here we go, trying for the up and under, just a little bit of a tap of the rear end on the McLaren, and is unable to pass. The yellow flag comes out in the first sector.
Now, when it comes to the telemetry, the rain is staying with us for the next 38 minutes of the realm. So stay with us, folks. It's going to be a long one, certainly in terms of the rain conditions. We have, of course, only exhausted 10 laps of the race so far. Otis, though, going for the move once again. 7th place here on the board for the Welshman. Might even now gain 6 as he now bursts past B. Danny. And just about before the apex, just as he turns into the corner, it's P6 for the Ferrari. Otis Lawrence now looking to chase after Shanaka Clay. A great run so far. And once again, underlying or underscoring his brilliance as a newbie, or should I say a rookie, on the F1 scene.
Yeah, obviously he's got 4.5 seconds ahead, so plenty of time to work into 7 seconds. Then Barshanakakle up to Jana Wapmir. That is going to be a very hard gap to close down and may require the assistance of the safety car. Speaking of gaps coming down, it is starting to close a little bit between Esteban Pukki and Benchabo Konyi. Go down from 3.5 to 3 seconds. Danny Berejne has closed a second on Esteban Pukki, and in doing so, he is leaving Jarno Opmeer behind at the moment. But let's be honest, if the rain is sticking around for such a long period, and obviously it's getting a bit heavier, maybe there is talk to drivers potentially preparing for the wets. There is also the potential of, okay, let's make sure that these intermediates actually last a long period of time if we're prepared to stay on them for such a long portion of the race.
Yeah, you do have to wonder whether another strategy twist could be on the cards, because as the rain does get heavier, obviously it becomes harder to handle. Even with the intermediate tyres, you're going to need those extra additional deeper grooves in the wet compound in order to try and manage your race. Danny Berejne, though, needing no invitation to manage his race. He's then burst through past the 1 second barrier and is now in contention against Istvan Pukki. Just want to say, though, Istvan Pukki having a stellar race. He started P20 in this race, and in 11 laps has managed to constitute himself into P2. I think that's not bad going, Lewis.
No, absolutely not. Yes, Benchabo Konyi's had the easier run there, obviously starting from pole position, but I think he's still showing some incredible speed. This race is going to start heating up, though, mostly courtesy of Berejne closing right in on Esteban Pukki, who want to clear the Ferrari as soon as possible and use this hot pace that clearly the Mercs have got right now to try and close in, or at least lower the gap to Benchabo Konyi before a potential pit stop. I think we've got plenty more twists in the tail when it comes to strategy. From what I'm feeling, I think what we've seen before in the Ironman League, it will definitely be dry for the end of the race, or at least it will dry up enough for slicks at least once before the end of the race. Although it doesn't seem it's going to happen for a while. And with that being the case, the expectation is potentially maybe we're expecting some wet tyres to be dished out to some of these cars fairly soon. We've got Zoltan Bode in the pit lane. What if he's going to try and take the wets?
It is possible. He has come into the pits for a change, and no one else has done so. Zena Gratchki is retired. Now, where has he done that? I believe that has been done. Wet tyres are on Zoltan Bode's car. VSC has been called, so that was on track. Just having a little look. That is a terminal... That is terminal damage that we are hearing. So there we go. That was an on-track retirement. VSC and a safety car. Full safety car has been deployed. So there we go. Great news if you're Danny Berejne and Jarno Opmeer, because that'll pull you instantly closer to Benchabo Konyi. Now the big question is, Lewis, do you make the move now, box onto the wets, and get rid of the intermediates?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Benchabo Konyi, I'm at the point where it's like I just don't really know what to do, and this is where being the leader is almost the worst thing. But Danny Berejne and Jarno Opmeer, they can basically come in and they'll either be ahead of Shinaka or they might drop down behind Otis Lawrence. Basically, they're not going to drop back a crazy distance. So I don't know, but for the leader, you're almost like sat at a really difficult crossroads. Clearly, Benchabo Konyi's got the confidence that it is definitely wet tyre compound to take.
Yeah, Benchabo Konyi now in the pits. Istvan Pukki coming in to join him. Danny Berejne also in the pits. Jarno Opmeer, no fears for the double stack for Mercedes. They're not going to be concerned one iota with that. There's Danny Berejne. This actually is played into the hands brilliantly of Zoltan Bode, who came in for that initial box onto the wets. Did it just before the safety car was brought out. So he's going to have a great opportunity here to actually gain some places back that he would have lost prior to the safety car. So no doubt he's going to be very appreciative of that, as now we see many more cars come in. Got an update for us, Lewis?
So we've had people coming to Esteban Pukki and Jarno Opmeer on the intermediates, when Benchabo Konyi, Danny Berejne, Shinaka Otis Lawrence on the wets.
That's interesting.
Wow.
They're not the only ones either.
And look at those behind. I was going to say, look at the ones behind. Danny Benser, Gabor Ciecic, Timbo. They're all... A lot of these drivers are taking inters, and very few are on the wets. This is very interesting.
It is interesting. And I tell you what will also be interesting is when we go back to green flags, where are the lap times going to be? And, with Jarno now on inters as well, Istvan Pukki also adopting the intermediate tyre. There seems to be a very indecisive split between the order right now. And None of them seem to know what the right answer is. Obviously, we're seeing the rain that is going to be with us at least for within the final half an hour of it. That's what my telemetry is telling me. So at least for the next 26 minutes, we're going to have this wet weather. So I suppose the question is, I think many of the drivers are weighing up, do I stay on the intermediate tyres? Are they fast enough? I could obviously get them to that distance, but I do wonder whether the wets might have that little bit of something that these drivers are going to need, at least for those next 26 minutes.
Look, from what we're seeing in the conditions and from what I'd suspect here is I think the wets will be faster for the next few laps. And I get the feeling that the likes of Pookie, the Opmir, Danny Benson, they're preparing not for the next few laps, but for the laps afterwards, for the rest of the stint. For the preparation of maybe the circuit drying up and however long. Obviously that's a long way down the line. Don't get me wrong, but it's more about in 10 minutes time or in 15 minutes time. Having the pain now, but dragging yourself back into it when those wet tyres are going to be a little bit over the line. I don't know. This is going to be really, really interesting. That's what the weather's always been like, though, in the Ironman League. With how we've had this, it's always been interesting, and we've seen splits like this time and time again.
Yeah, we have, and it's thrown a real curveball in. I'd be very intrigued to see how well Jarno can stay on the tail of his teammate Danny Berejnay. How much of a disadvantage are the Inters going to be in comparison to the wets, or vice versa? Let's wait and see. Benjamin Oconi has opted for the wets as well, so let's stick around and see what happens. Further back, alluding to Zoltan Boda, hasn't actually made the gains I thought he might. Still currently down in 16th place. Obviously making that early box onto the wets. He has obviously got an opportunity to catch up with the rest of the field. We know that generally his pace is pretty good, so I'd expect him to be sharp. Incidentally, he's actually come back into the pits. So Zoltan Boda back into the pits. Danny Berejnay has left the session, so I think he's having technical issues. Well, this is a bizarre scenario we're in. And in fact, Zoltan Boda's gone onto the intermediate.
Oh, this is, again, this just, I don't know, like that kind of tells me again that maybe you're preparing for, again, in a few hours' time. Maybe it is full wet conditions right now, but like I say, it's preparing for those laps afterwards. And whilst if you're down in like 16th position, if you kind of like doing a couple of laps and maybe thinking this is definitely the wrong compound of tyre, get off them straight away.
Yeah, well, Danny Berejnay's AI has gone. His AI's gone rogue, and it's decided that it's going to take the lead of the race under the safety car. So FIA certainly not frowning on this. We haven't heard anything. Danny Berejnay, he's just rejoined. This might be a genius play, genius tactic from Danny Berejnay. Outrageous. Yeah, I think I will as well. Just randomly disconnect and allow your AI to take the lead of the safety car. Fantastic.
That's hilarious.
That's baffling. Well, that's going to be tricky now for Danny to give back, because of course you have to really be off the circuit to allow your competitor to go back through. And the problem with Vegas, because it's a street circuit, isn't that many options as to going off track. This one's probably one of the best options.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Danny Berejnay, I mean, I don't know what I would do, because the thing is if it were me, I would be like, right, once this race is going, I'm going to let them past.
Yeah.
But then doing that whilst not letting everyone else past on a safety car restart when you might not be on the best tyres, that's a disaster. That is hilarious, though. I've never seen that before. I think the game might have told him to give back or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. I've never seen that. That's bizarre. Yeah,
it is bizarre. He has actually given the place back, so there we go. Yeah. So Benjamin Oconi has retaken that first place. Istvan Pookie down in third as well, having a great race still. Be interesting to see how he manages those intermediate tyres. Jarno Opmir as well further back. Shanaka Clay opting for the wets, as well as Otis Lawrence. So let's see whether they can elevate themselves into the top three. There's still big question marks around the usefulness of the wets in comparison to the intermediates. Of course, we've got B. Danny, Gab, Timbo as well. McLaren in the top 10. Of course, with both drivers 8th and 9th. In tandem, we then have Jabol Schmenzel as well as Janos Akanci down in 11th place. That, of course, being Chanakinci, who is generally seen as being a driver at the higher end of the order. Currently sat outside the top 10, so he's going to need a mega restart when the safety car comes back in.
I think he's slightly better than we are.
Slightly better than us, yes.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I'd say the entire grid is, which is, again, in conditions like this, you're definitely going to need that. I mean, like I say, I'm very, very curious once we get this one back going as to what's really going to happen. I think the likes of Zoltan Boda, we're going to see the passage up through the field for the likes of Otis Lawrence, who had those, and Shinaka Clay as well, who had those large gaps to the leading group. What Shinaka Clay, I think, was 7 seconds or so. I think Otis Lawrence had 4 seconds to Shinaka Clay. They've got now something to gain from it. Although every lap the safety car's out, you kind of get the vibe it's laps you're not going to be able to take advantage of the wets, which is maybe why Zoltan Boda came in and went for the intermediates, because maybe the circuit will be heading back to intermediate conditions pretty sharpish.
Yeah, there is a chance of it. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, current scenario with the wet weather, it's going to remain with us for the next 21 minutes. In terms of the top speeds, if you guys are interested in knowing where the pace in the speed trap is right now, Otis Lawrence has got that 365 miles an hour heading into the speed
kilometers
trap.
an hour.
Or, well, according to my data, it says miles per hour, which is interesting.
That
is
really?
outrageous. That's what the telemetry said. 365 miles per hour. Let's go and break the land speed record. Why not? I'm joking.
That's 700. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm joking. Otis Lawrence going ahead and taking certainly the recorded time in the speed trap. So congratulations to him on that. But obviously it's still early days. We've still got only a small matter of around 34 laps remaining in this race. The rain still is with us, 93% now. So we're at our near highest point. So I would argue that it is definitely wet conditions at this stage here.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we are racing as Esteban Pukki's defending from Jarno Opmeer. That happened again. It's just where Vegas' start is. It's ridiculously late. As here we've got 3 wide. Shinaka Clay looking down the inside, sending it to try and get past Esteban Pukki and Jarno Opmeer. But it's a big send around the outside from the Mercedes, and Opmeer's going to have the position up to third. Yeah,
and Otis Lawrence has been caught by his own teammate Ferrari, taking each other out, heading out of the hairpin section, allowing Timbo through. Pukki now making a huge error after coming together there with Jarno Opmeer, and now many of them being bogged down here by Pukki. There is a massive car park here in the second sector, at the start of the second sector, as now they burst on outwards. Otis Lawrence, I think, might have suffered a little bit of damage as well. You wouldn't be surprised of it. I think Pukki definitely has, as we can now see him making his way around. Now, a lack of downforce around this track certainly does prove counterintuitive, as now Otis Lawrence looks to recover the damage, gets past now Janos Akansi, and needs to get on the move because he has lost numerous amounts of places.
Yeah, that was a full-on Ferrari strategy if ever I've seen it. But either way, Otis Lawrence bouncing his way straight back up. Will try and get past Gabor Cicic and Danny Benzer as soon as he can. But it's whether they've got the straight line speed to do so. Maybe dumping a bit of the battery. Here we go, 3 wide as we go down the boulevard and down into this final complex of corners. Incredible stuff there for the Ferrari to have ticked off both of them. It's going to be side by side with Cicic.
Yeah, it looked like the B Danny and Gab are not going to let him go without a fight. Unfortunately, though, for Gab, he's lost out not only to B Danny, but also Janos Akansi, that being Chanakinchi as well. Yellow flags raised once again further down the order. Otis on a run right now. Janos Akansi managed to move up into 7th, that of course being Chanakinchi. Gab and B Danny now going wheel to wheel again on the outset of turn 1 as they remain together, glued as they were on the previous lap. Istvan Pukki also looking to recover the deficit that he has also lost as well. B Danny fighting back through the apex as they head out of turn 2 and turn 3, down the next straight now, and it's wheel to wheel as they make their way down towards the next apex.
Yeah, they'll be allowing the likes of Esteban Pukki to close back up. Do remember that Pukki struggles as he, I believe, loses out a little bit. David Vince has gone straight on at that point in the circuit as well. For the likes of Esteban Pukki, for the likes of Jarno Opmeer as well, they might be losing out a lot of the gap at the moment. Most that will be because they're on the intermediate tyres versus a lot of drivers on the wets working their way through and up the order, because it's definitely wet tyre conditions right now. But again, as things start to get less wet, I was going to say dry out, definitely not dry out, but get less wet, the advantage to the intermediates will swing, and it will swing potentially quite aggressively as well.
Yeah, I think so. We're just now watching the cars spear their way through this next segment of circuit. We just saw as well Istvan Pukki managing to knife his way through past Ben Gilles as well, but Ben Gilles trying to fight back against him. You can just see there is a little bit of grip difference between those on the wets and the inters. Just look at the top end as well. Shinaka Clay currently in 3rd place, benefiting off the back of the wet weather tyres as well. Gabor Takash as well going wheel to wheel with B Danny. And that is wets for Inters as well. This time though it's Gabor Takash who's going to take the advantage in this case, and not looking to come back at all is B Danny on that one. But at the very top, it's coming down, isn't it, folks? Danny Berejnay now 0.6 of a second on the tail of Benjamin O'Connor, so a great chance we're going to see a fight for the lead here as they head out of the first sector.
Yeah, Benjamin O'Connor's been fantastic so far throughout the race, leading basically the entirety as David Vincer retires from the race, yellow flag out, and safety got a but back out.
Yeah, full safety car has been called. David Vincer unfortunately retiring. Another terminal damage car that unfortunately has lost it, and that has allowed the safety car back out onto the circuit. Now this could invoke a twist in the tail. We could yet see the wet runners box for the Inters, and I think, they'll have to, I think, because of course Ben O'Connor's bound to come in, as is Danny Berejnay. The top three have to. We've got wet weather staying with us now for the next 16 minutes, and then after that, we are seeing dry conditions. There is a clear sky coming to us very, very soon, but naturally, many of these drivers are going to want to be on brand new intermediate tyres. Great news for Jarno Opmeer, because he will have the race lead should the top three pit.
I believe they will come into the pit lane. I say anyone on wets will come on to intermediates, and I get the feeling that those on inters, they've not used them enough, so it'll be fine. I think I would quite like to have whatever Timbo's smoking. I'm not going to lie. Have you seen what tyres he's on? I think the circuit's a little bit too wet for that, mate.
Well,
he's on slicks.
He's very brave. I'll give him that. Medium tyres at this point. Not really advisable. I mean, that is a very brave call. The rain is with us for the next 15 minutes or so. So that in total, if I'm reading it correctly, call it, maybe a minute, 2 minutes a lap. I mean, for him, it's going to be 2 minutes a lap. He's going to be facing this, considerably for the next 6 laps. Well, should we say for the next 7 laps or so. So that's going to be exceedingly rough here for Timbo. And as indeed they come into the pits, Benjamin O'Connor, Danny Berejnay, Shanaka Clay, no doubt, will follow them in as well. Or will he? Is he staying out? Yes, no, he's coming in. Jarno Opmeer, of course, remaining out as well. And he'll now take the lead of the race as we expected. So a great opportunity here for Mercedes. But I think Timbo's made a wrong decision there.
Yeah, I think Timbo, to be fair, that might be an accident. Although, it doesn't really happen too often, but you never really know. Or maybe just wanting a little bit of time to be spoken about on this broadcast. So, and we'll give him some coverage as well. Why not? And he's made an overtake. That shows how good Timbo is. He's overtaken an safety car on slick tyres.
Yeah, that's brilliant right there. That's talent. Timbo managing now to make his way past Gabor Vajda as we now see him retaking the place. In fact, Timbo is coming straight into the pits as well, so that is no doubt a mistake that he did make. 13 minutes now. The rain will remain with us. Jarno Opmeer still out on track. Benjamin O'Connor not forfeiting too many places either. Has actually managed to stay highest of the new intermediate runners and has got 3 cars in between him and the other car to come in for new inters, which is Shanaka Clay. So plaudits to Benjamin O'Connor. He is driving a very well timed and methodical race.
Yeah, but Berejnay pitted as well. So Berejnay's gone on to WOR intermediate tyres then.
Must have.
Is that right?
6 laps accrued on his right now. So
yeah, that's weird. But yeah, whatever. Either way, Berejnay's on intermediates. That's all we know. Everyone's on intermediates, and we'll focus more on the position they're in. Gab's done, like I say, great to have survived on those intermediates in those tricky conditions. Now finds himself 3rd, although I get the feeling I think he'll find himself 4th pretty quickly, because I do think Berejnay will fly past. Benjamin O'Connor, I think he needs to make a move on Jarno Opmeer straight away.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I think you'll want to put the squeeze on Jarno Opmeer right away, because obviously Jarno's got those used tyres on, whereas Benjamin O'Connor is occupying the fresh inters. Great chance here for Jarno O'Connor to take the lead and really impose himself in this next stint before he has to come in for his slick tyres, should the dry weather come out, as we are expecting it to do so in the next 12 minutes. So this is going to be a very important segment here for Benjamin O'Connor to not just take the lead of the race, but consolidate it.
Seb's given the update, by the way, that Bresnay will be on new Inters. It's just about probably because of when he left. And to be fair, that does make sense because he left, he took over the race lead, rejoined, gave back the race lead, and now finds himself in 4th position on some intermediates. I'm pretty sure they are fresh Inters, so let's not worry about that too much. Like I say, we will be with a dry track fairly soon. And we're losing, laps worth of racing in the intermediates, which if you're not confident in wet conditions, this is actually great. You're under the safety car, everything's chill. These 100% distance races in the Ironman League, they're long, they're tough, they're brutal. Sometimes just having a bit of a breather under the safety car, being able to drink some water and breathe, it's really important.
Yeah, it is, because it is a marathon and not a sprint. And certainly in this case, Jarno Opmeer right at the top of the field. Whilst he will be there for now, no doubt he will take a backward step when the strategy unfolds further later on into the race. So a great chance now to take stock of where your current situation lies. Benjamin Connier in second. And we'll no doubt be looking to jump straight away on the Flying Dutchman. Otis Lawrence now down in 9th. He's got fresh Inters on as well. I say fresh Inters, they are fresh, but one lap accrued on them, at least for now, under the safety car. And just in behind Zoltan Boda. So once again, those two will meet as now we see the cars make their way through the middle sector now very shortly. In fact, they do now, as they now head down towards the back straight. Opmeer will be looking to try and get himself set and prepared. Now, will he be willing to forfeit the lead to Ben Jabo Connie, or will there be a fight on their hands? He won't want Jabo Connie to get away too easily, because we know, and certainly are very well aware of the reputation that Ben Jabo Connie has. He is involved with the Haas F1 Esports outfit. He's obviously been part of the RHG team and lineup, has raced against Jarno Opmeer on various occasions for many, many years, dating all the way back at ORL many years ago. So they know each other very well, and despite only his young, tender age, Ben Jabo Connie, it feels like he has been part of the league racing fraternity forever. And with a young man with so much experience, very much like Otis Lawrence as well, he will certainly be a very tough customer to crack.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we had an interview with Ben Jabo Connie, obviously a few rounds back. I think it was Bahrain, maybe. We had a little chat with him post-race. The safety car's about to come in. And he is determined to win a race season. This could be it.
It could well do. Safety car now coming in, so it's all down to Jarno Opmeer now as they make their way around the final corner. Ben Jabo Connie now tanking after them as well. Quite a gap between them as they now look to get back underway. Green flag conditions, pedal to the metal for the 3rd time in this race. Shanaka Clay coming under distinct pressure. Just look at this, the swarm of cars, and an end plate has flown off as well. Drama here in the opening sector. Ooh. And a lot of confusion, I think, as well. The 2 Aston Martins further back. Norbert Jabo Connie, he gets a 5-second penalty after a severe collision with Gabor Takash.
Yeah, it's very messy heading through that opening sector. That is crazy. Being told the safety cars stayed out on the circuit, but I don't see it. It has stayed out. Yeah, wow. That was very messy indeed. There it is, our race leader. He just didn't want to come in.
Well, in accordance to my telemetry, we're still under safety car conditions. In accordance to the actual graphics interface we have here, we have got an issue with the safety car remaining out on circuit. Apparently, though, it will reset itself and it will recover when the safety car comes in this lap. So it's just the case that the safety car in lap is delayed by a lap, apparently. So I think it's taken a few drivers by surprise, I think.
He just wanted to leave another lap. It wasn't done. He just loves Vegas.
I think he just wants some screen time, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Timbo went onto the slicks. I'm telling you now. That's why he was on the mediums earlier on. Was only for some extra screen time. And obviously, I was going to say our virtual safety car because it's in the virtual world. Whatever. Our virtual Bert Meilander is desperate to do the same thing. Must be absolutely hooning it, by the way, around the circuit, because Jarno Opmeer's not been really catching him, has he?
No, I'm wondering, I'm not sure whether that's Jarno just sort of hanging back or if that is the safety car just taking things to another level. I mean, he's cleared Jarno by quite some distance and is still continuing to pursue. I mean, whether he thinks he's racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup or occupying his place on track as a safety car, I have no idea whatsoever. Let's watch him take this chicane. Doesn't look to be going immensely quick. Though I'm sure if I was in that passenger seat, I'm sure I'd experience something entirely different. As now we see the cars make their way down the back straight. Let's hope he comes in this time, Lewis.
Yeah, obviously the throttle limitation, yeah, fair enough. But I still think that safety car was going around rapidly. And it is into the pit lane. We are racing again.
Yeah, pedal to the metal for the 3rd time in this race now. Jarno Opmeer putting his foot to the floor. It looked like the Benjamin Connie was going to catch him napping now as they make their way in towards turn 1. It's still Uppbeat out in front. Gab coming under attack now from Danny Berejnay. A lot of confusion on that previous lap, but now as the safety car pursues its way into the pits, Danny Berejnay now elevates himself into third, gets a nose in front, and a whole Mercedes car in front. And now it's Mercedes 1 and 3 at this stage of the race. Shanaka Clay also on the move as well. B. Danny, Otis Lawrence, all of them swarming around, looking for opportunities for overtakes. Lawrence now down the inside as he now moves up to 6.
Yeah, I did think Berejnay was going to work his way through pretty quickly. Like you say, Otis Lawrence, any of the dramas and issues in that contact with his teammate, that one is settled and sorted behind them. Now on the intermediates, got Gabor Cechik ahead. Shanaka Clay's worked his way up into 4th position in the Haas as we head onto the boulevard. And you can see once again, also up towards the SS section, up towards that part where you go into the boulevard. I think Otis Lawrence will need to get through straight away because he wants to hug the back of Shanaka Clay.
He certainly does. We're now seeing them come together now. Let's ride on board here with Otis. He's going to squeeze down the inside here. Is there any room? Oh, they're very close. Gab very nearly losing the car. It's amazing how he wasn't close enough to hit the wall. And now as a result, I think Otis might have been slightly hindered on that exit. Of course, it's going to allow Szabolcs Wenzel to come into the mix as well. Are they going to go 3 wide? I don't think so, but Otis will take P5 away with the overspeed he has gained. Done that back straight. The Ferrari pinching the back of Gab and taking that 5th spot. And now he's got to try and close up on Shanaka Clay for that 4th place.
Yeah, we are expecting the rain to stop soon, but Zoltan Bode is expected to stop immediately as he's out on the medium tyres. Been riding on board with Benjabo Konyi, right on the rear end of 3-time winner this season, Jarno Opmeer, straight down the inside of the first corner, showing how good Benjabo Konyi's been around this Vegas circuit. The inside line through 1 and 2, it'll be the outside line through the likes of 3 and 4, but he backs out of that one. Might go for the up and under as we head onto this mid-stretch.
Yeah, could well do. He's been teeing up a move here on Opmeer now over the last couple of laps. Of course, now the safety car has come in. Free rein has been given to Benjabo Konyi to try and land a steady blow here against the Flying Dutchman, who still occupies P1 at this point during the race. Lap 23 of 50. We're not even halfway through yet. Benjabo Konyi trying to deliver something mightily crucial when, in terms of the fact that we are expecting the rain to cease in around 5 minutes' time, ideally would like to get past Jarno prior to the pit stop phase.
Yeah, I've got to say, like I say, this is going to be a really tricky defence for Jarno Opmeer, but the slipstream that gets dished out around it, mostly courtesy of that run on the boulevard, it's so long that when you're behind, you just get pulled along, and it should be a fairly easy move coming in for Benjabo Konyi. Then again, easier to say than it is to into the slipstream. And watch this. Just dropping a bit of boost as well, and bish bash bosh, Benjabo Konyi will retake the race lead here at Vegas.
Yeah, he does for now. Nose in front. The whole car now sweeps in front as well. Jarno switching to the other side as well. Might even get some overspeed back if he can get back in the slipstream. Not choosing to make the move though. Certainly not daring to go for an up and under on the outset. Heading through now this next chicane. And they've got another straight to take that'll lead them through towards the final corner on this lap. Jarno might get a chance here to fire back. He certainly will. He's going to look down the inside now as they make their way through the start-finish line. Jarno Opmeer with a stellar overtake. Retakes P1, but Benjabo Konyi returns the serve again as they run wheel to wheel now. Heading through on lap 24 of 50. Still not halfway through. And these two are dueling like it's the final dying laps here in this race around Vegas. A roll of the dice. Benjabo Konyi replies. He takes the lead here at Vegas.
Incredible racing between the pair of them, and it's not done yet, as once again to the inside, Jarno Opmeer is going to at least have a look down into 5, but that was some of the best racing we've seen all season long. That was incredible stuff between Jarno Opmeer and Benjabo Konyi. Incredible respect in doing so, and trust me, it's not done. Once we head back out onto the strip, I'm pretty sure Jarno Opmeer will be looking by the time we get down to the end of it, as we get into the chicane. Once again, a couple of cautions keep coming out in the first sector. Norbert Benjabo Konyi is into the pit lane, whilst Benjabo Konyi's brother continues to lead here.
Yeah, fabulous battling between these two. Danny Berejnay as well, right in behind of it, right in the thick of it, as well as actually closed up to within a second. He's 3rd place now, and no doubt can help out his teammate, but watch in the background, Shanaka Clay and Otis Lawrence coming into the fight too, and Otis is in fact going to have a look this time on Shanaka Clay as they make their way around this very fast left-hander. A door could yet be open here for Otis, who takes it and walks right through it and takes 4th away from Shanaka Clay, which does cause a few complications as far as Haas are concerned. The title is on the line, and it's currently being handed into the palms of the Mercedes team.
Yeah, circuit's definitely drying up though, so I wonder if any of these are going to bail into the pit lane, maybe take on some slick compound tyre. I think that is Shinaka Clay coming straight in. I think is that Danny Benchabo Konyi coming into the pit lane to go on to slicks, trying to get the undercut and get past Jarno Opmeer once again, or at least get back into the race lead and comfortably so.
Yeah, indeed, soft tyres I think as well on the car, so he's opting for a very aggressive strategy here, Benchabo Konyi, and it might work for him. We've seen how the aggressive early stop can sometimes work out. Though we did see earlier on, it was actually the, should we say the overcut that worked earlier on? Because remember, it was Danny Berejnay who went out for that extra lap when the rain started to fall, as opposed to what Jarno did only a lap previous, and Berejnay was managed to overtake him during the stop phase.
Look at the track though, this is definitely, I mean, there's a little spray coming off the tyres. DRS is enabled, which is typically the thing that tells you
Mercedes are in trouble.
Certainly.
What Mercedes going to do? Two cars on intermediate tyres. They're going to have to double stack.
I'm amazed they didn't stop one of them. I'm amazed they didn't get like Berejnay into the pit lane. They're going to have to double stack because you'll lose more staying out on the racetrack on intermediates right now than you will from just accepting the pain of the double stack. I think Berejnay is going to drop quite a few seconds here, sadly.
Yeah, I think so. Berejnay is going to be the one to lose out because Jarno Opmeer, given track placement, will have the access to the pit lane first. So let's wait and see what happens. Big call, though, and a great call, I think, from Benchabo Konyi, and he's not alone. Look at Chanakinchi, 8th place, 6.5 seconds behind. As now we see Danny Berejnay having a little look down the inside of Jarno Opmeer. I doubt that is a move that will result, or is looking for a move that could result in an overtake. As now it looks like at this stage that Jarno's coming in, and so's Otis Lawrence. So it looks like Danny Berejnay is being forced to stay out here, Lewis.
Yeah, obviously avoiding the double stack, but again, I'm not sure that's the right call in the sense of I would rather take the pain of the double stack than the pain of taking the intermediates around their circuit one more time. But again, they know far, far, far more than I do, so I'm sure they know they've calculated it that Berejnay will lose less than 5 seconds in doing so. I guess it's a fairly short lap round here, so we'll have to wait and see. Benchabo Konyi will head back up to the race lead on the soft compounded tyre, and that lead is by a second. So Jarno Opmeer's done a great job to not lose too much time on Benchabo Konyi on those fresh, slick, soft compound tyres. Yeah,
well, Danny Berejnay is going to lose a huge advantage here, and has actually remained out ideally probably 2 laps more than what he should have done. It just goes to show that it was a smart move from Benchabo Konyi to box when he did, because he is now dwarfed Jarno Opmeer by 1.5 seconds. He's got the soft tyres on as well, so again they're going to be at this point during the race, considering that they're still quite young in terms of their usage, only 1 lap applied on them. He is going to have lots of grip on them, and he will use them, I'm sure, to try and build somewhat of a gap between he and the Flying Dutchman. I have no doubt in my mind, though, Lewis, surely he's going to have to box again, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of it's a long race from this point to stay out on the soft. So I did kind of wonder that are you preparing for another stop? Because I don't think Jarno Opmeer or Otis Lawrence will be. Shout out to Otis Lawrence, by the way, who's in DRS range of Jarno Opmeer as the caution once again comes out in the first sector into the pit. And I'm pretty sure this time by will be Danny Berejnay. You can see it was 15 seconds. He's dropped it down now to 11.5. He's sped in pit lane, 10 out of 10. Oh, poor guy.
Well, I tell you what, if you got your copybooks ready, folks, I tell you what, I mean, tick that one off. Unfortunately for Danny Berejnay, it has gone from bad to worse. 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which will go against, I'm sure, Mercedes' possibility to taking the title here this time around. It's left the pit lane in 4th place, but has now got a 5-second time penalty to contend with.
I think they'll still be okay for the title because it's more about Haas have to outscore them by an awful lot. Because it needs to obviously be, 38 points going into the 43 points rather, correct myself. 43 points going into the season finale. So I think Haas have to outscore them by a good few. It's not going to be easy, and I'm not going to do the quick maths now because I do always say never trust a commentator's maths. So work it out yourselves and drop it in the chat so that we can read it and read it out with the utmost confidence.
Yeah, absolutely right. Jarno Opmeer now in second place. Now, I will say this, while Benchabo Konyi does have the soft tyres on his car, Jarno's been closing in at a rate of knots here on the medium. So is it the case that the mediums are more effective here than the soft tyre?
I mean, maybe the whole thing is like the soft tyre tends to go off pretty quickly. And also right now, I think it almost doesn't matter what tyre you're on because the slipstream in the DRS is more than enough to keep you in tow. I don't want to be that guy because I really do like Ben Jabo-Konyi. I can see Jarno Opmeer and Otis Lawrence flying past and not being seen again.
Yeah, well, I tell you who might not be seen again is Otis Lawrence. He is on a charge and he's right behind the Flying Dutchman. Will he look to escalate it for an overtake? Has taken the fastest lap as well, and also on that medium compound of tyres. So Jarno Opmeer with a young pretender to the throne in behind him as well. Only a youngster, still not old enough to compete in F1 Esports. Otis Lawrence, who is on an almighty charge with the DRS now opened up here. Great chance for Opmeer to now overtake Ben Jabo-Konyi, but interestingly enough, still not opting for that overtake.
Sometimes, it's good to sit behind for a few laps. Again, if you've burnt a lot of your battery in closing up, it's good to, obviously use the DRS. They all know this. That's fine. Use the DRS to keep you close enough whilst you can save up the battery. Because the last thing you want to do is pass and then have nothing to burn. And then you're kind of sat there being like, well, I'm just going to get passed again. But what's the point in doing that when you can save some of that up, get in the section, get past the DRS, and then burn it to build the gap? That's the important bit. And that's why, people like Jarno Opmeer, that's why they win these kind of championships and these events so constantly. It's why he won 3 races. He knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to strategy. Well, I think, again, not trying to win over the fan base.
Well, I think they must know to a certain degree, or at least Opmeer might know anyway, as he now looks to take the lead of the race this time around. Does so at this stage away from Ben Jabo-Konyi. Otis Lawrence now taking P2 away as well. I did wonder whether perhaps he was utilising Ben Jabo-Konyi for the DRS, believing that the soft tyres will be quick in this initial stage. And then when, of course, the softs die off, Opmeer is then in prime position to take a potential win, as is Otis Lawrence, because they're on that medium tyre. But at this stage, I would say the cards are stacked against Ben Jabo-Konyi at this point.
Yeah, exactly. It's not looking like a comfortable scenario as Danny Berejne sets the fastest lap of the race. Obviously has that post-race time penalty to suffer through, and also the likes of Channel Institute on the rear end to suffer through as well. Right now, we ride on board with Ben Jabo-Konyi in the DRS. Little bit of a look down the inside and a commitment to a move on Otis Lawrence going down into T5, backs out of it and settles himself behind the Scuderia. We'll just give you an update on the championship right now as things stand, because Mercedes are definitely outscoring the Haas team. They've got 50 points of a lead coming into this round, and they'll be pulling out even further. They will secure the championship with these positions, and to be fair, even if Danny Berejne drops back a few courtesy of that penalty.
Yeah, well, there we go. So, to be fair, when we looked at the championship coming into this particular event, we knew that Mercedes were right on the helm of taking the title. Jarno Opmeer is going to make it all the easier for them as well by, no doubt, consolidating this place right at the very top of the classification. Further down, though, Ben Jabo-Konyi asking questions here of Otis Lawrence. Will need to as well. 4 laps accrued on these soft tyres now as Otis looks to go for the lead himself past the Flying Dutchman, Jarno Opmeer. And the youngster does take over, the young Welshman, and Ben Jabo-Konyi joining him as well. Moves into second place, Opmeer down to third, so they'll continue to swap here as they make their way around on lap 29 of 50. Danny Berejne, though, did post the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, I think if I'm Ben Jabo-Konyi, you've got to be preparing yourself for no pit stop between now and the end of the race. Stay out on the racetrack, which means you've got to look after your tyres. That is the most important thing. And to be perfectly honest, from what I'm seeing here, if you're in second place going onto the boulevard, onto the strip for the final time, I think you win the race.
Yeah, there is certainly a possibility here. I think he's got to. I don't think Ben Jabo-Konyi can afford to box here at this point, because it will set him back a great deal. Second place, though, here at this stage, and utilising those soft tyres. Of course, those softs can go a lot longer under the 100% race situation that we are running here in Ironman League. So there is still a great chance that Ben Jabo-Konyi couldn't get a result here. But at this stage, the medium tyres look to be in fine fettle, at least for now. Otis Lawrence out in front, and he now bursts through at 4.5 tenths of a second ahead of Ben Jabo-Konyi. With 2.5 tenths back, then comes Jarno Opmeer. Danny Berejne working hard to break the deadlock as well, has in fact gained quite a bit. Remember, that was 4.3 seconds only a lap or so ago. He's now brought it down to 3.5. In fact, in his last lap, he was lapping in the 134s, and his teammate Jarno Opmeer, the 135s. He was a whole second faster than his teammate Jarno Opmeer, as now Otis Lawrence forfeits the lead. Ben Jabo-Konyi takes it away.
Yeah, nearly Jarno Opmeer was trying to sweep his way back through. Basically, if you've ever watched things like the Indy 500, that's kind of what we're dealing with here at the moment. Just a lot of chopping and changing. No big drama between this lot. They're going down the strip. They're all chopping and changing positions. They're losing a little bit of time to Danny Berejne, who's going to be closing in. But I think that gap will also start to grow as I think Berejne's wearing out his tyres to do so, to try and close this gap. And also, again, he has that penalty to deal with post-race. For Berejne, it's more about building a gap to Esteban Pukki and trying to build that to a point where he's not going to lose that spot. Because at the moment, he'll be dropping down into 6th position. But these three at the race lead, I think they're going to be changing an awful lot. As I look to the inside, comes from Jarno Opmeer. That might have been in defence of Otis Lawrence as much as it was attack of Benchabo Konyi.
Yeah, it might well have done. At the same time, he is very conscious of Lawrence in behind, and we'll certainly be hoping that they are going to be working together to try and elevate their place in order to make sure that it's these three that are contesting for the race win. Danny Berejne really going to work on the deficit now. 2.9 seconds is the gap. That last lap was a 1:33.5 from Danny Berejne. That is a stellar lap, 4/10 quicker than Otis Lawrence in 3rd place. And just a little bit faster as well than Jarno Opmeer, his teammate, as well as now Jarno looks to open up the door once again. Outside line this time on Benchabo Konyi, takes the lead away again as the Flying Dutchman, and smoothly does it as well as Otis Lawrence looks to join him. Takes 2nd place away as well does the Welshman. Danny Berejne as well, joined by Esteban Pukki in behind, who's being joined and dragged into the fight here. Pukki going for 4th and has taken it as well on the medium tyres. Now he's going to hope that Danny Berejne will work with him here, because they need to work together to gain to the top 3.
But Danny Berejne will not want to work with Esteban Pukki. You want to slow him down. Again, removing the chance of the Ferrari driver closing in on the race to see if Danny Berejne didn't look for anything down T1. You heard as we were riding on board a bit of a lift before we got into the braking zone. Could have sent one down the inside. It would have been very risky there at the first corner and wouldn't have realistically worked in a move anyway. Can Esteban Pukki close that 4-second gap? Unless they start battling, I think no. They have to battle quite hard. Like side by side going past the sphere and that kind of that's how hard they have to battle, I think, for Esteban Pukki to close in. It
does seem that Pukki is playing the team game here. Remember, the deficit was 2.9 between Danny Berejne and P3. Of course, now being occupied by Benchabo Konyi. Esteban Pukki is now 4.1. Is he playing the Otis Lawrence team game here?
I mean, I would say no, because I think Berejne has more to gain from keeping Pukki out of the battle. I think Pukki has more to gain from being in the battle. So I think Pukki doesn't want to play the team game to assist Otis Lawrence here. I think he wants to be in that fight for the race win. But Danny Berejne, because he can't be in that fight for the race win because of the penalty, he might as well remove Esteban Pukki from that fight. So it makes sense for Berejne to fight, but less sense for Esteban Pukki to fight, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
If you follow my logic.
Yeah, no, definitely so. I mean, Otis Lawrence now going for the lead of the race anyway. Burst past Jarno Opmeer this time around on lap 32 of 50. And Opmeer now subdued to P2. Danny Berejne also taking that 4th place back as well. 4.6 seconds now. The gap has grown significantly. The top 2 now. Otis Lawrence last lap was a 1:33.896. with Jarno Opmeer rumbling in a personal best of a 1:33.450. And incidentally, Otis Lawrence has just managed to pull together a personal best of his own as well, a 1:33.771 as they now make their way through turn 1. This is Danny Berejne in 4th with Pukki not far behind either. There's Opmeer with the DRS open as well, trying to hunt down after Otis Lawrence. A battle here between 2 Mercedes and 2 Ferraris with a Haas thrown in between. They make their way through this next right. Lap 33 of 50, still Lawrence out in front. No rain expected for the rest of this race. It's dry conditions all the way here, Lewis. So 3 guesses as to what the strategy is, though.
Push. That's all of my guesses. I think they're going to the end of the race. I think Benchabo Konyi might have to pit, but then I think if you do pit, you know you're not going to win the race. So you might as well stay out, accept the pain of being out on the soft tyres, and just roll with it. Roll with the punches. You've made your bed, now you're lying it. And to be fair, you can save tyres around here. It's not that ridiculously high tyre wear circuit. Not long left to go in the race now, and we're seeing these chops and changes happening all the time. I don't know which of these 3 is going to win the race. I have no idea, but I do believe it's one of these 3.
Well, they are primed at the moment and in a very good place, Otis Lawrence and Jarno Opmeer at this stage, both on medium tyres that will no doubt go to the end. Benchabo Konyi is retired as well. Now, I believe he did that in the pit lane, so I think it's okay. Yellow flags are raised in Sector 1, but no safety car in accordance to my telemetry, so I think he did come into the box and enforce that retirement. So no safety car, at least for now. Doesn't mean to say we won't get one, because there is still a possibility. Jarno Opmeer still in second now, only a tenth of a second or so in behind Otis Lawrence. That is quickly, though, being pushed outwards as they make their way through turns 1 and 2, with Ben Charbot-Conny in behind. Istvan Pukki with Danny Berejnay for company. Now, those two have managed to roll back the 0.5 of a second that was lost. In fact, Pukki has managed to close down at an alarming rate. 3.6 seconds now away from Ben Charbot-Conny, so they are looking to close.
Norbert Charbot-Conny, mate, you could have pulled an unbelievable Nelson Piquet and assisted your brother Ben Charbot-Conny.
You're surely not ensuring another episode of Crash
Come
Game.
on. Come on.
What are you insinuating here, Lewis McGlade?
Exactly. No, that's fair enough for Norbert Charbot-Conny. To be fair, if you're going to retire from the race, you're not really enjoying it, or whatever, or maybe the car's damaged, or maybe, I don't know, the darts is on, it's not on. Also, golf. There's no sporting event on right now. There's no reason, there's no acceptable reason for you to have retired from the race, but fair enough. Either way, bailing from this one and doing it in the right way by doing it in the pit lane. Concerning gap from Ben Charbot-Conny back from Jarno Opmeer, although he's managed to close it back in as Opmeer, I think, is going to settle for second right now. Maybe he doesn't want to pass. Nope, never mind. Correct me if I'm wrong. Off he goes.
Yep, looking to take the lead in the race, and he's not alone. Danny Berejnay doing exactly the same. He's now up to fourth as well, and differing strategies being utilised here by both Mercedes cars. Of course, we know that Danny Berejnay is on the soft tyres, on the same strat essentially as what Ben Charbot-Conny is doing, but does have a lot fresher tyres on, as now they cross the line this time around. Jarno Opmeer still out in front. 9 laps accrued on his mediums, as well as Otis Lawrence, who is running the same strategy. They'll go right to the end, no doubt, with Ben Charbot-Conny just lodged in behind. 2P Danny trying to gain on Gabor Takash for that 10th place further down as well. A lot of battling further down as well with Timbo, incidentally, who's trying to gain on Gabor Vajda. And further up, B Danny as well, who is 3.5 tenths away from Gabor Takash for that 10th place. But up at the front end, it is still a battle of the top 3 at this stage. Danny Berejnay, yellow flags in Sector 2, though. That's interesting. And that looks like an AlphaTauri that has taken a bit of a detour. Now, is that Zoltan Boda? I think it is.
Yeah, Zoltan Boda's not had the best race. Shown some great things throughout the running of this Vegas Grand Prix, but unfortunately, it's kind of all just fallen apart a little bit. Went onto the slicks earlier than everyone else, as you can see. That was kind of basically during the wet conditions as well, so was very brave. Alas, it has not worked out. Finds himself 30 seconds back from Ben Silas, who's also having a very difficult run here in Vegas. 15 laps to go after this one. The lead will switch once more. Otis Lawrence gets past on Jarno Opmeer. Let's say they're all chopping and changing quite a lot. No one's obviously being able to break away right now, so at that point you might as well just chop and change. For one, overheating, and for two, banter. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I give credit as well to the pairing of Pukki and Berejnay, because they are getting closer now to the top 3. Yeah. 3 seconds now has become 2.9. And in the last lap alone, again, they were nigh on a second better. Now, let's take a look at the times this time around. 1:34.1, and again, another second faster here this time from Istvan Pukki. So now the attentions have turned to the front 3, and I think Pukki is now asking major questions, knows that there's an opportunity here. With him and Berejnay working together, they can close up to the front 3. How long before the front 3 realise?
Yeah, I mean, Berejnay at the moment, like realistically, there's his chance of winning a very minute, courtesy of the penalty. But for Istvan Pukki, this victory is absolutely on. Medium tyres as well, closing up on the on the top grouping. Even though Danny Berejnay has that penalty, though, what he can do is he can assist Jarno Opmeer in this fight. If he throws himself in it, plays a team game, kind of try to maybe Jarno Opmeer takes over the race lead, Danny Berejnay gets into second, and then starts playing a bit of a team game. That can secure Jarno Opmeer the victory. Whilst he's not focused on his fight for the victory. He's been a very, very solid number 2 throughout this season, and we've seen that time and time again. Yeah, we certainly have. Jarno Opmeer now opening the door once again, as he has done time and time again, this time on Otis Lawrence, pulling the plug on the youngsters' P1 dream. And Opmeer now on lap 36 of 50 will hold on to it heading out of the chicane. Does look to me, is Ben Charbot-Conny struggling on these tyres? Yeah, I think so. I think these tyres are maybe starting to falter a little bit, although I've seen that gap grow quite a few times. I think the largest got to was about 0.7 of a second. Let's see what it's like through 1, 2, 3, and 4 this time on that run down towards 5, and then particularly through the chicane going past the sphere. Does he still have the grip to keep up? If he's got the grip here to keep up, I think there's no major worries on the tyre front. Maybe just building that gap and not getting too involved.
Well, looking on the last lap, a 1:34.657, which is a pretty decent lap there for Ben Charbot-Cognier. And arguably, only 2/10 off the pace of Jana Wotmir. But I would say that the mediums and the softs have certainly met in terms of where their sort of levels of grip are at this point. Istvan Pukki 3.4 seconds away, so the 2.9 is certainly a distant memory at this point, and needs to try and muster it in again. And hopefully, with a little bit of help and assistance from Danny Berejne, they can get closer and closer again. But I think at this point, it's going to prove to be a little tough for them to do so. 13 laps to go, including this one in this race. Jana Wotmir now still leads, with Otis Lawrence there in second. The gap's almost equilateral between the top three, even though Otis Lawrence now starts to gain, with the DRS now becoming useful here for the Welshman, who looks to try and retake the lead away from Jana Wotmir. Has done so brilliantly as well. Again, Ben Charbot-Cognier not even in the mix, where we were seeing the top two twist around with the man in third place as well. We're not seeing it so much this time. Ben Charbot-Cognier just a mere spectator to what's going on at the front end.
Yeah, despite all these switches for the race lead, I can guarantee you the top three's heart rate right now isn't particularly high. It's basically just keep it on the circuit, blah, 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 nothing too major. That will build up and up and up. This race, whilst we're seeing those switches, this race is really calm right now for those three. It's no bother. It's about preparing yourself for the last moments. For the last moments, though, it is going to be crazy. As Danny Berejne into the pit lane, deals with that penalty, as well as also switching onto the medium compound tyres, interestingly enough.
Well, we did wonder whether that would be the strategy that Ben Charbot-Cognier would go for, but at this stage, I would say that it's null and void at this point. And especially considering what's on the table here. Danny Berejne in the midst of a fight immediately as he exits the pit lane. He's got Naji Benser, currently sat in 8th place now, and dispatches him down to 8th as well, taking that 7th place away as they now head through the next chicane. So Danny Berejne now confirmed medium tyres is where he will stay. Jabok Svensson coming into the pits as well. I would say it's a foregone conclusion without any shadow of a doubt that Ben Charbot-Cognier will have to remain out on those tyres.
I mean, look, if he comes into the pit lane, your chance of victory is gone. If you're staying out, maybe there's an instant between the top two. Who knows? Jana Wotmir will retake over the race lead. 12 laps left to go here at Vegas. I mean, if I'm in Ben Charbot-Cognier's boots, you sat there being like, look, I really needed to be on the mediums, fair enough. Maybe the reason why he's dropped off a little bit, though, is because maybe he is looking after the tyres, trying to play the long game, trying to not wear them enough, closes back up in the slipstream and the DRS, and then doesn't use them too much going through to give him the grip on the final couple of laps. But the likelihood of that working, very, very low. But it's easy for us to say right now, and I'm sure Ben Charbot-Cognier is managing this as best he can, relying on Otis Lawrence and Jana Wotmir battling a little bit.
Yeah, but look at this lead advantage now. It's grown out to just over 6/10, but it's coming straight back down with the use of DRS. So Wotmir now starting to put the squeeze on here at this point. Knows that we're coming into the final stages of this race. It's going to be a straight fight between Otis Lawrence and Jana Wotmir to decide who will take victory here at Vegas. And Lawrence currently adopting a reasonable level of ERS as well. If you take a look at the steering wheel down below, 87% of battery still remaining in the car, and he's using it now around this straight to try and close the gap because it's drifting outwards. Wotmir is making him work for it.
Yeah, I think Wotmir's burnt as much as he could going through that middle sector to try and pull some of the gap, but as we head back out onto the strip, that gap will come down, the slipstream, the DRS. This is where Otis Lawrence will once again close back in, and all of that pain to build the gap as large as it was. Jana Wotmir will be forced to forfeit it, as we can see closing in. Look at the overspeed, and Otis Lawrence, notice that, did not want to pass there, lifted out before we got into the chicane here, did not want to try and send one down the inside of Jana Wotmir, was thinking, you know what, I'm happy with second right now. Yeah,
we just caught a slight glimpse of the tyres as well. You just saw the difference between the softs and the mediums, and unfortunately for Ben Charbot-Cognier, despite, of course, putting in the tyre saver that he has done, around 10% more wear on each compounded tyre in comparison to the mediums. What I will say about Ben Charbot-Cognier is that he's not gone outside a second. He's still remained on the tail of Otis Lawrence. And even as Jana Wotmir and Otis have decided to put the pressure on him, he hasn't really moved a muscle. He is still operating at the same level he has done for the last few laps and still continues to do so. So one has to wonder, can he extract something? Can he do something special prior to the end of the race?
It's a very interesting fight between the top three. I'm not saying this is not edge of your seat fight yet, but I think each lap that gets ticked off, you're moving a little bit forward, a millimetre forward in your seat, a millimetre forward in your seat. I bet this is building up to quite a crescendo, and I just hope that there is no safety car now. A safety car, in my opinion, would kind of ruin this fight. Yeah, I'm sure it might spice up the end of the race, fair enough, as long as it comes out like pretty soon. But right now, I don't think we need any extra spice. I think we've got all of the perfect ingredients here, and now we're just letting them cook.
Yep, the top three that have been certainly stellar, raising their heads above the parapet in terms of being the best in terms of league racing. Otis Lawrence now taking the lead away from Jarno Ottmeer, and has done so in great style as well here on lap 40 of 50. 10 laps to go here at Vegas. Lawrence now exiting out of the chicane. Out in front, he'll commence lap 41 in front with Jarno Ottmeer now. No way. That is not a pit stop for the Flying Dutchman. Interesting call from Jarno Ottmeer. Now, what is the plan, Jarno? What is the plan? Another set? No, it's a fresh set of softs. Intriguing. And now, will that enforce Benjamin Coney to make a play here?
I'm baffled. I'm absolutely baffled by that. Otis Lawrence surely isn't coming into the pit. I know the tyres are worn, but Jarno Ottmeer is going to have to close in an enormous margin. I will say, you know, it's one of the shorter pit lanes that we deal with here, but he's got 10 laps to close down, 16 seconds? I mean, I can see Jarno Ottmeer going a second and a bit a lap faster, so...
It's a possibility.
I don't know.
It's a possibility.
I absolutely don't know.
Well, listen, let me tell you this. We did see that, bear in mind, Danny Berejne was able to pull that kind of a gap over a single lap earlier on as well, but he needed DRS to do it. Jarno does need DRS. He hasn't got DRS. He's 10 seconds away from Pookie at this stage. There's a great chance that a podium will be on the table regardless for Jarno Ottmeer, because he can just hang loose on those soft tyres. He can exploit them. And now already, yellow flag's being raised again. Not quite sure what that's regarding. There is a collision involved, a warning that's been given, I believe, to, I don't think that's Chanakinchi, is it? I think, yeah, I believe it is. Chanakinchi getting a warning for a collision, unfortunately involving another car. But Jarno Ottmeer, he's already knocked 5/10 off. He's 9.5 now away from Istvan Pukki.
I mean, look, the whole thing there is, I respect it, because I actually think that Jarno Ottmeer, I say easily could have won, could have guaranteed a podium and could have put yourself in position to win by literally just sitting behind at second place, waiting until the last lap of the race, DRS and Urs, fire your way past into the race lead, goodbye, I've already won. That's the easy route. Trying something different, going onto the tyres, and now really spice up the edge. I said this race is going to push you further to the edge of your seat, and we are really there. Ben Charbot-Cogny desperately wants his first win in the Ironman League. There is not long left to go here in Vegas, and we have got an absolute storm ready for the end of the race as Jarno Ottmeer sits, 14 seconds now off the race. He needs to really close it by about... Shinaka Clay, this could be a safety car.
This could be a safety car. Yellow flags raised in Sector 1. Did he retire in the pit lane? What is the salute? What is going on here? We'll have to wait and see what happens with Shinaka Clay. No decision. I can't see safety car flashing up on my screen just yet, folks. But sit tight. Shinaka Clay is out of this race, which is certainly not ideal for Haas at this point. We are hearing that apparently Chanakinchi and Shinaka Clay did collide as well. Of course, we did see that Chanakinchi did pick up a stop-go penalty as well, so it's certainly got from bad to worse. But Ottmeer is on a charge here at this point. He is now 6.8 seconds off Pukki. He has managed to notch in some serious pace, and Ben Charbot-Cogny has responded. He has taken the lead away from Otis Lawrence, utilising that DRS. He's now in front, but the story is this, is now Danny Berejne overtakes Chanakinchi. Jarno Ottmeer on a charge here, and 6.9 seconds away from a potential podium.
I think he's going to win the race. I genuinely think he's closing in fast enough. I think Jarno Ottmeer is going to win this race. I will say, even if things finish as they were standing, Otis Lawrence has retaken over the race lead. Even if Ben Charbot-Cogny was leading, gets to 25 points.
32.8. Goodness me.
That's really fast. If Jarno Ottmeer and Danny Berejne finish 4th and 5th, they'll be scoring, obviously, 22 points between the pair of them. At this point, as things stand, even if Ben Charbot-Cogny wins the race, Mercedes will win the title. It was already kind of said and done before the race, but especially with the retirement now now from Shinaka Clay, it is effectively done for Haas.
Jarno Opmeer is in a world of his own. 1:32. No one else has done a 1:32 in this race. Otis Lawrence's best time was a 1:33.7, and Benjamin Okonye's best lap was a 1:34.0. Jarno Opmeer is in another galaxy. He's in another stratosphere. He's here in 4th place, 4.6 seconds away from Istvan Pukki, and closing that gap relentlessly here with Istvan Pukki, his first victim, I'm sure, in only a small matter of a couple of laps' time. 2 laps accrued on his softs. Otis Lawrence still leads the way, at least for now. Benjamin Okonye joining him up at the front end will no doubt make the move for the lead of the race. Let's wait and see what happens here. Lap 43 of 50. Benjamin Okonye takes the lead, but Opmeer still on the charge and is nearly broken to within 4 seconds.
Yeah, the most important thing for Istvan Pukki, he'll want to actually battle Jarno Opmeer as hard as he can. It's not going to be for very long, but even delaying him by a second, half a second, whatever, it will help Otis Lawrence. That's the important bit there, who now retakes over the race lead from Benjamin Okonye on the race down into the first corner. So Istvan Pukki will be the one to fight them. And then for Benjamin Okonye and Otis Lawrence, it will be really, really important that when Jarno Opmeer gets there, they fight him as hard as he can, as hard as they can, to try and slow him down, to bring Jarno Opmeer back onto their pace. It is possible, it's just really, really tricky. There is not long left to go in this race. Jarno Opmeer in 4th place, I still reckon, is basically the favourite, but I still think it's going to come down potentially to DRS and Urzius on the race down the strip on that last lap of the race.
Well, I can tell you this, that last lap, Jarno Opmeer was 3 seconds faster than Istvan Pukki. That is outrageous, and still continues to knock down the delta. And again, it's come down to 2.3. Those medium tyres are going to be screaming right now as well. And in comparison to the soft tyres being occupied by the Flying Dutchman, goodness me, this is going to be child's play here for Jarno Opmeer. He's had harder days than this for sure. He's to within 2 seconds here of Pukki, who's occupying that 3rd spot and heading down towards the next left. This could be a stellar display from someone who has brought out some of the most outlandish strategies and made them work. We look back at F1 Esports last season to his grandiose United States Grand Prix victory. Of course, he didn't win the title that year, but nevertheless, it was a pleasure to watch. And of course, we've seen him do it time and time again in league racing. That is for sure. And here this time around in the WOR Timbo Ironman League, over 100%, where certainly magic can happen over the course of a 100% race. Otis Lawrence now taking the lead here round the final bend, heading into lap 45 of 50. Without any shadow in my mind, I am surely expecting Jarno Opmeer to gain and be within a window of overtaking Pukki on this lap.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be potentially on the strip this lap, but he's not going to be close enough into T5. Might be able to do it as they head towards the sphere. But as they come round 4 and then out towards 5, to be fair, DRS, bit of urge usage, maybe close enough, but that's going to be an unbelievable drive for the T5, so it's not going to work here for Jarno Opmeer. Just fills the mirrors, makes sure Istvan Pukki knows who's knocking at the door. It's not any rando, it is Jarno Opmeer who'll look to try and pass. So we head up towards the sphere and look to the inside, gets past the Ferrari as easy, like using the superior grip of those soft tyres. Istvan Pukki was just unable to really fight there. Will try and stay as close as possible and maybe mount some form of effort on the stretch. Well,
in the last lap alone, he was nearly, again, 3 seconds faster than the drivers in the top 2 places. A safety car! Oh, goodness me. Well, I tell you what, that's decisive. Now, this is an opportunity for Otis Lawrence. Does he plumb for a pit stop here in the last moment to cover off Jarno Opmeer? It's a brave call, but it might be a well-timed one. And it might just help Otis and Bence out, because there's Opmeer in the distance. He's close enough, and given the fact that he's 2 to 3 seconds faster a lap, surely Otis and Bence have to pit to cover off Jarno's pace.
You've got to. We're definitely going back racing again, because obviously there's 5 laps left to go in this race.
In they come.
These two, you've got to. If you're out on circuit, you're going to be a sitting duck. And to be fair, I think for Jarno even, with 4 laps on your tyres, 5 laps on your tyres around here,
he's in.
To be fair, I don't really want it. And Opmeer's going to come into the pit lane the same way.
Yeah, they're all coming in now on this final lap. Everyone, no doubt, is thinking of exactly the same. And Chanakinchi can utilise that stop-go penalty as well, as can Gab. So there's going to be a fresh perspective throughout this grid. We may only have 15 runners, but no penalties for anybody, and fresh tyres all round as they make their way out of the pit lane. So Otis Lawrence will retain the race lead. Opmeer in 3rd, Benjamin Okonye in 2nd place. we have got a straight dogfight, a straight shootout to decide who's going to win this race. This has just got juicy, Lewis.
Yeah, and hopefully Bert Mylander actually doesn't do his magical extra lap on the race circuit and comes in when he's supposed to, when he's told by race control. No heroes in this one, mate. Bring it in ASAP. Obviously, we'll wait for them all to get back together again. This is going to be a fascinating run to the end of the race. As much as I think that the one person that really didn't want that safety car was obviously Jarno Opmeer, because I think genuinely, I think it was going to be not an easy win, but I think he was effectively just going to win the race, right? Because he was catching with so much speed. Unless he made a horrific mistake, that one was set. Now, things are up in the air. Istvan Pukki's back in the fight. Danny Berejne will be back in the fight. This is going to be probably the craziest end to any race that we've had this season.
Yeah, outrageous. So tell you what, folks, get your recording devices out. You do not want to miss it. This is going to be one stellar way to end a race. At this point, though, Haas very much out of the picture, I would argue. Jarno Opmeer and Danny Berejne are going to do more than enough to clinch the title. But it comes down to mere accolades, comes down to race wins, and its passion. It is, of course, being labelled a race winner. Jarno Opmeer bidding to become a 4-time race winner in the Ironman League this season. Otis Lawrence on debut, looking to become a race winner this time around in the Ironman League. Could yet do it as well. He leads this race right now. And Ben Chabo-Connie, despite all his efforts, his many podium achievements, also chasing a first race win this season. But you've got to throw in the names like Istvan Pukki, who has been brilliant in the modern era of league racing, and Danny Berejne, forever the bridesmaid, never the bride when it comes to competition and championships. Has obviously partnered Jarno Opmeer to his first F1 Esports title. He's partnering him again this year in F1 Esports, and now here alongside him here this time around in the Ironman League. He himself has a great chance of taking a race win here, Lewis.
Yeah, I believe, by the way, the safety car should come in at the end of 48. We're obviously on 47 right now, so it won't be. I don't believe it'll be the end of this lap. It'll be the end of the next lap. We'll see Bert Mylander come into the pit lane, and hopefully doesn't do that bonus lap like he was trying earlier, like I said before, because then obviously we'd have just a single lap. Although, let's be honest, one lap around here, everyone on fresh tyres.
Chaos.
Now, I don't know if I've heard of a better recipe for an enormous crash than that.
Oh, no, not at all. And the best thing about that, no more safety cars at that point. So there we go. Yeah. It's going to come down to mere juicy action, which we're going to be getting here. And make sure as well, if you haven't done so already, folks, hit the subscribe button. We, of course, want you to get involved. And also leave your comments in the live chat. Who's going to win this particular race? There is a poll currently running in the chat as well, guys, so make sure you get involved. Got well over 100 votes already registered. You've got Otis, Bence, Jarno, or you can comment as well if you think someone else is going to take this one. Let us know. We'll read out some of the comments as well. Lawrence Palmer saying Danny, I think that's alluding to the person who crashed. Let us know, though, folks. We want to hear from you as to who you think is going to take the race victory. But here at this point, it's Otis Lawrence out on top. Ben Chabo-Connie in second place, Jarno Opmeer in third, Istvan Pukki in fourth, and Danny Berejne in fifth. This is going to be a very juicy tie-up. Safety car still remains out, no doubt. As you said, Lewis, one more lap, and then I'd expect it to come in.
We do get the note very late, by the way. They come through that final chicane, the one after this, after they've done the strip, and then we get the note, and then it's basically straight in. So that will be chaos. Who did you vote for, by the way? Have you plopped your? I plopped my vote in.
I mean, I'm going to be. I can't actually vote because otherwise it pauses the game, so I'm not allowed to.
Oh, that's a great point.
Unfortunately, so I've got to sit in my seat. I mean, as I'm going to be slightly biased, nationality bias, I'm going to go with Otis Lawrence. I'd love to see I'd love to see the youngster do it.
I've also voted Otis Lawrence, but that's again, that's me using my heart a little bit. My brain tells me Jarno Opmeer. And to be fair, that is what everyone watching is saying as well. 68% at the moment of people voting have voted for Jarno Opmeer, 19% for Otis Lawrence, and 10% for Bence Chabo-Connie. It means just 3% reckon someone else might win. And to be fair, if there's an instant between this lot, who knows?
Well, we could be talking. I mean, it's just a shame that we haven't got Danny McSala here because he might have won this one.
There you go. Use your phone. Yeah, exactly. Use your phone, George, to vote. You absolutely win.
Use my phone. I'll use my phone then to vote for my my selection.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm actually a little disappointed that Danny McSala isn't here for this one. I'll be quite honest.
Shame. Same. No, I might go and have one later on, to be perfectly honest.
Would he have been your driver of the day, do you think? Or
well, I mean, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
I think, you know what, I will say, I think I will say, 2 laps have to go, so obviously this might change. My driver of the day is Ben Charbonnet. I think having kept up on those worn soft tyres, that was very impressive, fair enough. But also the pace and stuff that he's shown. Otis Lawrence has been fantastic on his Ironman League debut. And obviously Jarno Opmeer, he always continues to shock and impress. But Ben Charbonnet, I think, has been absolutely incredible today. And to be fair, I'd love to see him cap the race off in the best way possible.
Yeah, I think so too. You'll be pleased to know, everybody, I have used my phone. I voted for Otis Lawrence, so thank you very much. 2 things at once. I think that's genius. I think, honestly, I'm just not just a commentator, everybody. No, oh no.
He's an idiot as well.
Thank you, Lewis. I love you too, mate. The safety car out on track. Otis Lawrence now. We've got confirmation from race control. The safety car is coming in, we hope. Bernd Meinlander now making his way through the next chicane. Please don't remain out, Bernd. We really don't want to be in a position where we've only got 1 lap left under this procedure, though it might be quite interesting as now Otis Lawrence makes his way out of the chicane. Now he takes that long road down the back straight. Let us know who you think is going to win this one, folks. We want to hear from you. Please make sure you land your comments in the live chat. This is going to get tasty. Sit tight. It's going to be special as now Otis Lawrence, for the final time, surely, will put pedal to the metal for the 4th time in this race now. Lawrence leads. Benjamin Connie in second. Further back then as well, we got Ben Snaggy and Chanakinchi further back as well. Are going to fight their way through as they make their way through the first sector. It's still Lawrence out in front. Benjamin Connie on those fresher, soft tyres, grip that he has not necessarily been used to because, of course, he was on aged softs in that previous stint. As now the 2 Sauber cars come together, heading through towards the next right.
Yeah, this is all going to come down to the strip at the moment. Things are looking great, but Otis Lawrence has the race lead by half a second. They work their way through the chicane, going past the sphere. Jarno Opmeer will sit there. Any blink from the top 2, and Jarno Opmeer will pounce. He's not been able to get up into second position just yet, but that run on the strip is going to be mega fast. And do remember, the 1 lap after this, that last lap of the race, it is going to be tense. Otis Lawrence would have liked to have built a slightly larger gap there through the infield section. Yeah,
incredible. A circuit, of course, that consists of 3.853 miles of pure speed, very few slow speed corners, many of them made up of long straights, including this particular one where the overtakes are paramount. This is where we're likely to see them. Opmeer now going slightly defensive in the face of Istvan Pukki as well. It's all going to come down onto the next lap. We're on the penultimate one, at least for now, and no swaps in the top 3 here on this particular lap. So every question has got to be asked as then they make their way around the final corner on this penultimate lap to begin the very final lap. And Otis Lawrence has taken a fastest lap for his troubles as well and has stolen it from Jarno Opmeer.
Yeah, and you've got to say again, no DRS for any of these drivers between now and the end of the race. If you want to do the move, you've got to do it properly. And right now, Otis Lawrence is doing everything he can. The only fear for these drivers is if they've used too much of their battery over the previous lap, you've got to save it really for that final run on the strip. But it's been such a tricky run. Big kick of oversteer there as we ride on board with Jarno Opmeer up towards the sphere. I will be shocked if no one tries anything. Surely there's got to be some big sends coming down into the chicane at the end of the backstretch.
You would definitely expect so now. Lap 50 of 50, the final lap, the final frontier. It is Otis Lawrence who leads the way as then they begin the second sector and a retirement again. Jabal Spenzel is out of the race. Heartbreak for him here in this final echelon of this race now as Jarno Opmeer looks to pursue here on Ben Charbonnet. Opportunities now. He licks his lips. Great chance here for the Flying Dutchman to take P2 away from the Hungarian as they hustle and tussle their way down towards this next left-hander. Opmeer now opens up the door. Great chance for him here now, though. Ben Charbonnet going defensive, saying no immediately against Jarno.
Absolutely incredible. One final corner left to go. Otis Lawrence is surely in position here.
Yeah, definitely coming wheel to wheel now. Uppbeat looking to open the door as well for second place. He's taken it, but a dream debut for Otis Lawrence as he takes victory. Goes from 17th to 1st here in the WOR Timbo Ironman League here at Las Vegas, and has managed to pull off a sheer clinic. Otis is GOATIS here at Vegas.
21% of people voted for Otis Lawrence. Me and you, we were in that, mate.
We did
what
it.
What a stunning drive from Otis Lawrence. Just didn't make a mistake on those last 2 laps. No DRS, so had to deal with it all on circuit. Saved enough battery for the last moment. Got to be said, that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, absolutely stellar. You got to give credit as well to Jarno Uppbeat. A fantastic overtake in the dire straits of the race to take P2 away from Ben Charbot-Cogny. I think, despite obviously Otis going the distance, managing to achieve a victory after starting P17, that is absolutely outrageous from the young man who is still not old enough to compete in F1 Esports. What a talent this young man is. What a future he has as well. And credit to Jarno Uppbeat from 19th to 2nd as well. Went for that bizarre strategy to move onto the soft tyres late in the day. Without question, I think he would have been a race winner had it not been for that final safety car. But Otis Lawrence is your race winner. Jarno Uppbeat in 2nd place. Ben Charbot-Cogny, what a drive in 3rd despite starting pole. Istvan Pukki from 20th up to 4th. Had a great drive in his own right. Danny Berejnay as well finishing in 5th. Chana Kinchi in 6th. Gab in 7th. Gabor Takash in 8th. With Timbo in 9th. Ben Chiles in 10th. Further down then, of course, we do have Thomas Alroots in 11th place, Zoltan Boda 12th, Gabel Vajda in 13th with Naji Bentz in 14th. We then, of course, have Jabal Schwenzel in 15th with B. Danny in 16th, Shanaka Clay, unfortunately a DNF as well as B. Danny, as well as Norbert Charbot-Cogny, David Vincher and Zeno Grachki, who unfortunately also retired. But hey-ho, what a race! What a journey. And I got to say, I think for the Jarno fans, they're going to be feeling, I think, a little bit pig sick because, of course, they had every chance to see Jarno take victory. The safety car, unfortunately, undid it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jarno would have won that race had there not been the safety car. I think had the safety car come out a little earlier, and then we would have had a couple of laps, or 3 laps of race, and then we would have got DRS. Who knows what would have happened on there? I think we would have a crazy finish. Jarno might say that he's kind of robbed. To be fair, Ben Charbot-Cogny might feel the same way. It was an incredible race, that must be said, and again, some brilliant drives up and down the order.
Well, I think it comes at no surprise. I believe the Mercedes have won the title. I believe it has gone the way of Jarno Uppbeat and Danny Berejnay. So massive congratulations to them. They have been crowned your Ironman champions. Jarno Uppbeat and Danny Berejnay, congratulations to them. They have taken the crown, and in great style as well. Jarno Uppbeat taking 3 wins through the course of this campaign and typifying the end of the season as well, though we do have one more round to come after this one next week. But this time around, managing to take away a P2 at the very last-ditch effort. It was a great effort, though, I think, because Ben Charbot-Cogny has been ruthless in his own right in the race today, Lewis. But to make the move like Jarno did before the final corner was stellar.
Oh, it was brave. It was the only opportunity he really got. I think there was a couple of looks coming down on the end of the strip, but it wasn't quite enough. And maybe had Jarno got another lap, maybe we would have done something about Otis Lawrence. But again, it was well timed and a brilliant move from him up into 2nd place. And you've got to say, between the pair of them, Uppbeat and Berejnay, very, very well-deserved champions of this series. They've been fantastic with the teamwork they've put on, and we'll have to wait and see what they do next week. Yeah,
we definitely will do. I believe we do have some interviews on hands as well. In fact, we do have Ben Charbot-Cogny standing by with us as well. Ben, a cracking drive from your own account, I would say. You must be a little bit disappointed because you were in there for the win. Maybe softs weren't the best strategy towards the very end?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Firstly, big congrats to Jarno and Otis. They both drove perfectly, obviously. If I'm honest, strategically, it wasn't my finest day. We can say that. When we went from wet to dry conditions, my initial thought process was that I switched to softs, and then later on I will switch to another softs again. So basically something similar to what Jarno did. But during the stint, I was not confident that if I pit again for a new softs, I can catch back. So I decided to stick with the DRS on the front guys and hope for the best. But yeah, it was a mistake from me, but didn't really matter because of the safety car in the end. Yeah, as you said, it's a bit disappointing because the race win was like, I don't even know, it was 5/10 away from me, and I just wasn't close enough to make a move. Obviously, as I said, both Otis and Jarno drove very good races too, so big GGs to them.
Yeah, I mean, in your own right, Bence, I think your season has been stellar. I mean, you've gone right through the campaign, podium after podium, you've been consistent. You've got to take some positives from that, and we've got another race to come as well. There's still a chance you can claim your first race win.
Yeah, I hope so. Today was a good opportunity, but I missed out, unfortunately. Hopefully next week I can make more out of it.
Yeah, and given the fact that you've qualified so strongly as well, is that something you work at? Is that something you practice? Because I've known you now for quite a long time. You've been racing against the likes of Jarno Wattmir and as well as Danny Berejnay for quite a long time. I even remember it all the way back at the ORL League now, which seems like years ago, and nowadays still racing at the highest level. What are your thoughts as you make your way to the final round, and what are your hopes for the future?
Yeah, I'm just hoping to close the season the best way possible, and after this put more focus on other leagues. Yeah, just do my best every race I attend.
Brilliant stuff. Well, congratulations on another stellar podium, Bence, and I'm sure we'll see you back again at the very forefront.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
And you too. Thank you, Bence. We are being joined, though, by our new champion-elect as well. Well, one half of the champions, anyway. Jarno Wattmir joins us here in the commentary box. Jarno, what a stellar drive from yourself. You mixed it up towards the very end. We were expecting some hellacious moment on brand new softs at the very dire straits of the race. But then the safety car came out and killed it off. I bet you were gutted.
Yeah, I had a race in the back and then the safety car came out, which was very frustrating. I was gaining so much time. I think I would have easily won that race and pulled a gap. But yeah, that's how it is sometimes. Still managed to get up to P2 again in the last 2 laps, which was very tough because everyone just has a limited ERS, of course, in those last 2 laps. Yeah, luckily I had a little bit extra left compared to the front 2 in the end, but it was still not quite enough to overtake before the line, or at least overtake Otis before the line. I think would have been a bit enthusiastic to think that I could overtake 2 people out of the last corner, but yeah, I tried, but didn't quite work.
Well, you rolled the dice, and it is Vegas, so where better place to do so? And you did actually manage to overtake Ben Charbot-Connie right around the final corner, which was a pleasure to watch, by the way. But I think, obviously, your pace was undeniable in that closing stint, managing to usher in nearly 3 seconds a lap of pace. That is unbelievable. I mean, you seem to be well dialed in to the new handling model that has come out. I think many people are relieved that we're no longer in the period of F1 22 where the handling sort of gave way from us a little bit, but now we're seeing, I would argue better racing and probably arguably a more competitive level of league racing.
Yeah, I think I speak for everyone when I say that the F1 22 handling model was terrible. But yeah, F1 23 has been much better handling wise, that's for sure. And not to mention strategy is much better as well, much more different strategies you can use to kind of get to the front or fight back later on in the race, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm still quite enjoying F1 23, even though I've got over 1,000 hours on it, which I can say for a lot of F1 games. So of course the handling and a lot of stuff still has a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But honestly, yeah, it's much better than last year for sure. So I hope we can have another big step forward next year again with handling and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I want to ask as well, were you sort of surprised earlier on in the race where Danny Berejnay boxed a lap later than you did and was able to sort of come out quicker, or was there something that happened on your outlap earlier on as well during that sort of, I think it was the intermediate crossover, wasn't it, where we saw you come in just 1 lap before Danny and then he sort of came in a little bit later, despite being on slick tyres and then moving on to the inters a little later. Did that surprise you a little bit?
Yeah, I have no clue what happened. I thought I was going to come out 5 seconds ahead, and Danny came out a second ahead, so I've got no clue as well. Nothing happened on my outlap. I had to overtake like 2 cars, but that costed me maybe 1 second, not 5, so...
Yeah, bizarre, incredible. Obviously, though, a great way to bring a championship to an end. We have got one more race after this one. You and Danny seem to be working exactly the same way you were when you were both at Sauber not too long ago. Of course, now being renewed and back together again. Of course, Danny returning to Mercedes. Once again, another great team display. Something we've come to realise and see as well, technically in PSGL, if we can argue that. I know Danny's driving a Red Bull, but still, of course, we all know that he is a Mercedes guy. What's it been like working with him still? It seems like you guys have got a great affinity together.
Yeah, I think Danny's the fastest, or one of the fastest, if not the fastest, on F1 games, which is a pain to practice against, but it does help me a lot to learn from him. He practices a lot, so he tests a lot as well, and yeah, that just makes my life a lot easier, even though it can be annoying. It does help a lot, yeah. So yeah.
And a provider of snacks as well, as far as I've seen online.
The guy eats so much. You should, next time you see him, ask his weight, because
he is actually tanked. He's actually tanked. I saw him in Sweden, and I couldn't believe how muscular he was and how big he was. I was like, I remember him as a really lanky, tall person, but now he's like bulked out. I wouldn't want to be caught in a dark alleyway with him, put it that way. But yeah, outrageous. But I mean, honestly, brilliant. But Jarno, congratulations on a fantastic result, mate, and another fantastic championship as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, George.
Thank you, Jarno. Jarno Uppbeat, everybody. What a performance once again. And no doubt more championships will be added to his plethora as well, and to the cabinet. Otis Lawrence, though, we've got to talk about the young man making his debut, and Welshman. And me and Lewis McGlade tipped him as well to be the race winner. Let's make sure we get that in there, Lewis. Otis, congratulations, race winner for the first time in your first appearance. You must be thrilled, mate.
Thank you, George. I hope everyone enjoyed the race. Yeah, I mean, I came into the race for just a bit of fun. To be honest, I'm not really taking this win as like much of a thing, because I only came into this race for fun. It's good practice as well for 50% races, because obviously we get to do double that distance. So yeah, it's good practice for the shorter races. And yeah, considering I had like 3 cars spin in front of me, I'll take the win.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little concerned at one point because you had it coming together with Istvan Pukki very early into the race. And I thought, to be honest, that brought your race to an end. I was a little concerned that you were going to have damage, and it looked like you would have. Can you tell us whether you did or not? Did you have to make any wing changes, or was it okay in the end?
No, I did not have damage off Istvan. I think he had damage. Luckily, my car was still pointing straight after the contact. But yeah, lap 1 I had damage because the car spun in front of me. But yeah, start with the result.
Yeah, but it didn't bother you one iota. You were making overtakes, and you certainly managed the race along with Jarno and Ben Szabo-Konyi. In terms, like you said, you alluded to the 50% and how the 100% have sort of helped you with that. How did you find the transition, though, of moving from a 50% scenario into a 100% scenario? Because it is differing, isn't it? And in terms of stamina, you need that little bit more to last the distance.
Honestly, there was loads of safety cars and stuff, so we had quite good brakes. And honestly, I didn't really feel. It wasn't as bad as I expected. To be honest, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse with my hands, because I run quite high, 4C back, so I thought my arms were gonna be dead. But at the moment they're not too bad. So yeah, it wasn't too bad of a change, to be honest.
Yeah, and you've been on a stellar recent run as well. I mean, I've looked at your PSGL form as well, and even prior to that, you of course were very involved in E-Series and things of that nature as well. And for someone who hasn't yet qualified, should we say, for the full F1 Esports, should we say the championship as such, this certainly is, though, setting in motion, I'm sure, a brilliant future in store for you. And of course, Veloce place you in high esteem. McLaren Shadow, I know have got you in their academy. Looking ahead, obviously we've got many more league races to come. We're still only, should we say, we've still got a number of months before the next F1 game comes out. So are you working on trying to build as much of a or make as much of an impression as you can in this final echelon of the F123 game?
Oh yeah, of course. Obviously, I just gotta try and do the best I can in these races. Feel like I'm doing a pretty good job so far, so I just gotta try and keep it up.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you've ticked all the boxes here. Congratulations on a stellar victory, Otis, and we'll wish you the very best. Will you be back next week? That's the big question.
I might. We'll see, innit? We'll see.
Well, there we are. WR exclusive. Otis is back next week, so there we go. Thank you so much, Otis. Thank you so much. Race win once again. Well done, my friend. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Luckiest race winner. I'll see you now.
Fantastic. Otis Lawrence, everybody. Congratulations to him. Lewis, it's always wonderful to speak to the drivers. Of course, we get to hear from Jarno Opmeer as well. Sounds like he found it as much of a mystery as we did as to why he came out behind Danny Berejnay during that changeover period.
Yeah, I mean, clearly those, they had more pace than they were expecting. Who knows? Who knows? Those that were staying out for the extra time. It's always good when even the very best on the platform get shocked by what happens. But either way, I think it was a great race.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the end might have been classified as maybe a slight anti-climax because no DRS and stuff, and there wasn't any passing. But Otis Lawrence said he got lucky there. Absolute rubbish.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was outrageous. But listening to the talk, obviously Otis, talks a very mature game for someone so young as well. Has obviously experienced the highest level racing now for the last year or so, and has really come into his own as a driver. Big opportunities for that kid, I'm sure, lie in wait. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what his future holds as well as a young talent. But I tell you what, folks, if you want to know what your future it has in store, you can certainly hit the subscribe button and sign up for future broadcasts for the WOR channel. Make sure you do so. Hit that big red button down below, and also hit the like button as well, and stay up to date with everything that happens here at WOR. Don't forget as well, social media at WOR League. You can get involved on Twitter as well as various other places as well. Shorts are available in real form. And if you want to check me out, you can on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. You can find me down below, George Morgan TV. There you can see the name as well, available across all social media networks. And Lewis McGlade, do you want to share your social, if you please, sir?
Indeed, because you don't want to follow George Morgan. Don't do it. Just don't.
Just don't. You don't want to do it to yourself. Just don't.
Exactly. No, follow neither of us. Go and do something better with your life. But if you do want to, Lewis McGlade something.
Make your life fulfilling. Anyway. Join Lewis McGlade. That's fine. I'll put this way. Yeah. But there we go. I tell you what, it's been stellar, folks. Really enjoyed it tonight. I hope you guys did too. Like I said, please make sure you stay signed up. We got one more race to come now. Next week. I only have one more race to put up with Lewis McGlade. I can't wait. It's going to be fabulous. I just want to say, Lewis, it's been a privilege. I've missed you after ESLR one. That's to be said.
Well, no, it's always a pleasure sharing the booth with you, George, because I'm better. Anyway,
ruthless.
It's good banter. It's good banter.
It is great banter, folks. We'll see you next week. Make sure you stay tuned in. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.